VIDEOTECH.
Hello and welcome to a very special holiday episode of Return to Videotech, the show where two dinguses break down the movies we love and share our affection for physical media with you. Today we're bringing you a chill, more relaxed conversation on 6 alternative Christmas movies. We each picked 3, and they actually cover a wide range of genres and moods, from a 70s slasher to a dramatic biopic about Princess Diana's struggle with mental health. So no matter what kind of Christmas movie you're into or in the mood for, I think we have something for you to enjoy. And I'm Keith, and with me as always is my friend, co-host, and Christmas hipster elf, Matt. How's it going, dude?
Yes, my outfit very apropos of your intro. Listen, it's pretty crazy. Like you said, I think this will be a fairly casual episode. We're throwing out all the segments, and we're just going to keep it loose in a conversation. But pretty wild. This will be our last episode of the year, and I think it's going to be a nice way to wrap us up. But it's just kind of crazy. We started this show. Our first episode was like January 8th was when it was posted. So a year into doing the show, how are you feeling?
I feel good, man. I'm just having a good time hanging out, talking movies with you. We talk about this outside the show a lot, but I mean, obviously we'd like to see a little more growth, but I mean that's not that's not necessary for me to be having fun doing this.
No.
So
Nor I, and totally agree. So happy Christmas, Keith. Have you seen anything in the movie theater since the last time we spoke?
no, I haven't made it to the theater, unfortunately. I did have some good physical media pickups, but why don't you tell us about your recent theater experience before we get into that stuff?
Yeah, so nothing new in theaters for me, but I've talked about before how much I enjoy seeing like old movies in the theater, and probably one of the best, biggest opportunities that I would have ever hoped for presented itself recently. And that's, of course, I'm talking about Stanley Kubrick's The Shining coming to IMAX, which I saw on Friday night with Zach and Lindsay. It's definitely, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a movie that I watch every year, kind of having some shining weather right now. We had a snowstorm over the weekend, so kind of like a snowed in, had to like get the snowcat out to make a trip today. Do you have any snow out there in Wisconsin right now?
We had a big storm a couple weeks ago, and it's just stuck around because it's been so cold. But no,
That's the
yeah.
worst. I hate the stick around of the storm afterwards.
Yeah, and the roads are all icy. Just, I love the snow and like wintertime in general. I like being cold kind of, but driving in it is the worst,
Yeah.
especially like now when the roads are just like straight ice.
Yeah, we just in the past year bought a Subaru that's all-wheel drive or whatever, and it's the first time I've ever had a vehicle like that, and it's just because I have had so many dicey driving experiences with my usual super light sedans that I've had in my life, like fishtailing all over the place. You try to hit the brakes and you just go like flying through a stop sign. I can't believe that I haven't gotten in more car accidents for how many like close calls I've had in like crazy city traffic, because here in Pittsburgh they like just don't plow in the city. They're just like, well, traffic will take care of it. You know,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, it doesn't. And like I've just had some crazy ones. So it's so nice to have a car that is actually like okay in the snow. It's just a
Yeah.
completely different feeling of ease, because I've definitely like white knuckled. I mean, I've done some like have to throw an e-brake or I'm going to slam into the car that I'm coming up behind. I I mean, just a lot of bad experiences in driving in the snow.
Have you found it's doing better though? Because like
Oh yeah.
here, I don't know if it's just because of how cold it gets here, but like I was saying, we just have like black ice, and
Yeah.
like I specifically remember a time coming home, just like in the neighborhood where I live, and Chris has a Subaru, my wife,
Hmm.
and we did the same thing. We were like sliding around this corner, and she's just like, "Well, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, hope I don't run into this parked car that's like right here in front of us." And
Oh, I
like,
know. And like we have, I mean, you know how Pittsburgh is, like the city neighborhood streets are like so tight and there's cars parked on
mm,
both sides, all different directions.
Narrow and steep.
Yeah, but I mean, look, our Subaru is definitely better than the various cars I've had in my life that have just been like completely horrific in the snow. Like I feel like I shouldn't be alive for some of the close calls that I've had. Um, but speaking of The Shining, I brought up like one of the first things that I bought on 4K after I purchased a 4K player. The first thing that I bought on 4K was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I bought a 4K player just to get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on 4K. And then I was like, all right, I got to start building my collection. I think this was just like, I just like looked up 4Ks on Amazon. And like one of the first things was the Stanley Kubrick 3-pack that has The Shining, 2001 A Space Odyssey, and Full Metal Jacket. And I was like, all right, that's as good of a starting spot as any. And
Yeah.
the only one that I've watched out of the three out of this pack is The Shining several times. At some point, I definitely plan to watch 2001 A Space Odyssey out of here. I mean, I've seen it before. I've just never watched the 4K of it. And I certainly plan to at some point. But I love The Shining. Just an absolute masterpiece. Some debate between Lindsay and myself as to like when it's appropriate to watch during the year, because I feel like it's a winter movie that you definitely have to watch when you're during a snowed in weekend. But I think you could, I mean, the first time I ever watched it on TV was definitely during one of those like AMC horror movie run. So like it definitely has some fanfare during the October stretch. But if you tell me to put on The Shining in October, I'm like, it's not time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the thing for me too. I feel the same way. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think of The Shining as a winter movie. Um,
I
yeah,
mean, I get that it
I
is
agree.
like I get that it is an all-time classic horror movie, and you know, it deserves its place up there with any other top horror movie, but for vibes, it's wintertime. It's got to
Yeah.
be a snowed in weekend that you're watching The
I mean,
Shining.
especially when you get to the climax of the movie at the end and, everything happening outside in the maze and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what was really striking me on the big screen? Well, a few things. It's just when you have a movie that you've never experienced on the big screen, like the beginning of The Shining, which is already I always think is so epic with the like aerial camera shots like coming into
Them
that.
driving like through the mountains and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like over
Yeah.
that body of water and the
Hmm.
burm, 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 like it's like
Yeah.
shaking, through the sound. And but like in the IMAX theater, just the experience with the sound is like so much more than I ever
Hmm.
get in my living room. And even seeing like the actors be that large of scale, it's just like, wow, this is just such a different
Hmm.
experience. And after a while, you get used to that stuff. But like the woman in 237, in room 237, who starts off as like the young hottie and then turns into the old lady,
Hmm.
there's like the part at the end when she's kind of chasing Jack Nicholson, or the end of her scene where she's like chasing Jack Nicholson out of the hotel room and she's just laughing maniacally. Like that never has ever struck me in any viewing, but in the theater, it was like so haunting, her laughter. It was like, because it just goes over and over. Like she just doesn't
Yeah.
stop doing this like crazy cackling laugh. But that was creeping me the hell out in the theater. And
Yeah.
it was just such a
Theater is
cool,
peak
yeah,
experience for any movie, in
yeah,
my opinion. You
I
got to get out
know.
there and save them.
It's so cool it's something that I can't recommend enough when like a classic movie is either being shown in a theater or it's getting some, crazy re-release. I can't recommend it enough to go do that. And it was packed too. It was a packed house and with a decent amount of young people too. Like, I don't know, not like teenagers, but people that looked like they were like in their 20s.
Oh,
So
that's
it
good
just,
to hear.
yeah, it just, I will say this year, I think the theater's been busier in general. I know everybody's like having a pretty grim time right now with everything that's going on with Netflix and Warner
Yeah.
Brothers. And it's like, are we seeing the death of the theater
Yeah.
and physical media? But I feel like, and I don't know what the numbers say, but anecdotally going to the movies the last year plus, there's been more butts and seats than it had been following the pandemic.
Yeah. it's just straight doom and gloom out there on the internet right now.
I get
Uh,
it, and I
did you hear
have like
about the Disney thing too?
no, please enlighten me.
They announced that they're gonna have like AI generated content on Disney Plus now, where
Yeah,
it's
that
like
stinks.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like you can type in your own prompt and be like, make me a cartoon real quick and it'll do it, but it's like something along those lines, or I don't know
Well,
how it's gonna work, but it sounds terrible.
it's weird because obviously, like us and a million other people are like becoming the old people, where the next generation will pass you by, and things change, and that's the way of the world and evolution and history, and that's just what happens. But you know what? I don't care. I'm happy to be the old person and say this sucks. like,
Yeah, I'll shake my hand at the cloud and scream, save the cinema.
well, it has like a whole other level of bummer for me because when I think about Warner Brothers being like absorbed by Netflix, I just think about Hollywood and the way that I glamorize it, and the idea of the studio system and that just being over, and it's a different
Mhm.
world now. Much like how like the music industry ended, and you can say, hey, a lot of people were profiting off musicians even though they weren't doing anything, and it's that was not great, and none of those people really can do that anymore. But the idea of it existing as an industry, like, and the fact that
Yeah.
it doesn't really anymore is kind of a bummer. And that
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
mean, if you wanna take like a level-headed look at it, like there is some stuff that Netflix puts out that I think is pretty good
oh
quality.
yeah,
We wouldn't have got The Irishman without them, Marriage Story. They give certain directors like more money than studios would sometimes, and sometimes they give
definitely.
them more autonomy and let them do more things, or at least you hear that. And I even just saw a trailer for a new Matt Damon and Ben Affleck movie called The Rip that looks awesome that I'm like really psyched to see when it comes out in a couple
Oh
weeks.
yeah, and I definitely want
Um,
to watch the new Noah Baumbach movie with George Clooney and Adam Sandler in it. Jay
mhm.
Kelly or something.
Yeah, so it's not like I feel like part of the reason why everybody gets so up in arms about this, and I'm guilty of this as well, is like this thought that, Netflix or these other streaming companies, Amazon, whatever, doesn't care enough about the movies. But I think something that we forget to think about too is obviously, yes, I think this sucks, but the people making movies want to make good movies. You know what I mean? Like, no matter who's giving them the money, they're going to still try really hard to make a good movie. So, I mean, whether it's Netflix, yeah, it sucks if we're not going to get to see them in theaters. But like, I don't think it's as doom and gloom as like we're making it out to be. And I myself do it too. Like I reshare all this all this like all these negative opinions about it. But I think if we want to like find the silver lining, or at least just not be
Well,
totally doom and gloom about it, that's one way to look at it. Is people making the movies still exist. Christopher Nolan, whether he gets to make a movie that goes to theaters or you have to watch it at home, he's still gonna put his whole heart into making the movie.
and I still believe, and look, you can go back for however long, in since people have been able to make art on a theatrical level, so going back centuries, I mean before, like pre-film though, but like the idea of like people doing these plays, you go back to Shakespeare. I mean the idea of someone writing and telling a story with characters and a theme, it's always going to appeal to the masses. It always has. There's always been money to be made there, and I think they're, while we've seen it have peaks and valleys over time, I just feel like it's an industry that's going to stay around, and we're just seeing it change right now. But I definitely glamorize like the old studio system. I just like the idea of it. It's something that I probably for like a long time in my life I would have been like, that's a dream for me to like go out to Hollywood and work in a movie studio. Like not necessarily like directing movies or something, but like that I would have loved to work in the industry. And now it's like sort of shifting away from that and becoming like all under the corporate conglomerates of just like a couple entities, which is just kind of a bummer. I mean, these studios have been bought by major corporations though, like a million times. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
remember?
isn't it like Viacom or some other
Mhm.
company? I don't know the name of it, but they actually own Disney
Yeah,
and all that stuff anyways already. It's
I
like
know. And if you watch your physical media over time, whatever it is, like Paramount, a Viacom company or whatever, like all the different ones, and you can see like MGM owned by whoever, like you'll see that, you know, over the years, and you see different one, like sometimes you'll see the same studio owned by different companies over several years. That's definitely been going on forever, but it just feels like the space is shrinking in terms of how many of them there are.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to get real like conspiracy theorist about it, I've seen stuff online where people are very worried about like if Paramount was to buy WB because they're somehow loosely connected to some political people and stuff, and you don't want like one political party to like have too much say over the media and stuff
Yeah,
in general.
yeah,
That
yeah.
tends to
No,
be
I mean,
bad.
look, there's always elements of that as well, but it's surprising with Warner Brothers and HBO Max and everything, but just because of the treasure of content that is owned between like those two, you know, parent entities. Like everything that comes with HBO Max, especially from the HBO like television series stuff is like crazy. Obviously having like Game of Thrones, but and then Warner Brothers, it's it's a name and a brand that's been around for 100 years. You know, I mean, probably not exactly 100, but forever at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like best case scenario is if Netflix and if the deal goes through, Netflix kind of just leaves them alone and lets them do their own thing, and is just like, we'll just profit off of you, you know? I don't
Yeah,
know if I
just be a cash
trust
cow.
them to do that, manage them
I
that way,
mean,
but
probably not. I mean, think about it. If you were in those shoes and all of a sudden you had all of these names and franchise and things that you could do stuff with, I mean, you wouldn't just be like, well, let's just let it run. I mean, they're
well, I
gonna
mean, well, here's my train of thought with that though, is
please.
like if they're yes, so yes, it would be sweet to just be like, oh, let's put Game of Thrones and Sopranos and The Wire all on Netflix. But
Yeah.
then they don't make any more money off of Netflix
Well,
unless
yeah,
they raise the price. So
that's true. That's
the
true.
only way for them to make more money is if they decide to kill HBO Max and just put everything on Netflix. They have to raise the price. So,
Well,
I
isn't
mean,
that where
maybe
the
they do like a
yeah.
bundle deal where it's like where like Disney Plus does with Hulu, where it's like um, one tier gets you just Netflix, another tier gets you Netflix and HBO, or something like that.
Isn't this where this is all headed though anyway? It isn't whether it's the streaming wars era and where that's heading or just like Netflix as king. I mean, where this is all heading is just exactly where cable companies were like 25 years ago where it's like, "Hey, we're just going
Yeah,
to, gouge the shit out of you." And like
yeah,
just keep once we have this as like a commodity that you need, we're just going to jack
yeah,
up the prices. We're going to make billions of dollars off of advertising, and that's where it's all heading. It's just a different version of the same thing.
yeah, yeah. We had it good for a little while when Netflix was like $7 a month, and
It was
then
awesome. Yeah,
I
and
guess we'll to transition. If you're done talking about this, we could probably
um,
transition into physical media pickups. Do you have anything else to say?
just one last note on The Shining. When I was
Oh,
walking out of it, just
mhm.
get out the doors. Some younger dude like turns around and looks at me and goes, "So is that supposed to be good?"
Oh
And I'm just
no!
staring at him. I'm just staring at him, and he just goes, "No, I'm just kidding."
Wow, what a weird joke.
You know, it did kind of crack me up though, because I didn't know what to say. I mean, there was like this
Yeah,
long, elongated pause where I was just kind of stunned that he just said that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty funny. But yes, let's transition into physical media,
Okay.
please.
So to segue to physical media, that's one thing that people are rightfully, maybe a little bit concerned about with
Sure.
WB.
Yeah.
Although, as previously mentioned, Netflix does put some stuff out, like with Criterion, just not very much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got the
Oh,
much talked about Ninja Turtles box set from Arrow, which is also a WB property.
much talked about
So,
by you and me in my
yeah.
basement 15 years ago, hoping that this day would come.
I am so happy to have this though. This is just like this was like top of my list, like just above Deep Blue Sea of like wants from Arrow Video to do, and so I'm just happy this thing exists.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's the first three, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the first three. Um, I popped the first one in the night that I got it and fell asleep like half hour in per usual.
Yeah.
But the 4K transfer looks awesome, and there's
That's
like a
amazing.
ton of special features. There's like lots of little goodies in here. It actually came with a poster that has like that artwork on it, the
Yep.
original poster artwork, and I framed it and put it up already. Um,
Yeah, you and I have discussed this before, but I love that first movie still. I told you I didn't buy this trilogy because I do have the three on DVD downstairs. I actually
mhm.
just had like a full nervous breakdown trying to find a DVD that I wanted to bring up, and I saw all three Turtles DVDs, but I couldn't find this one at first. Finally did. This is just like this is not a new buy. This is just a hey, it's Christmas. I'm gonna bring some fun stuff out of the basement up. In the
Mhm.
in our Goonies episode, the first episode, I talked about having this Xmas specials VHS tape that I taped a bunch of TV Christmas specials off of, and one of them was Garfield's Christmas, which I picked up this DVD from mine and yours local Walmart. I like it was just one of those like just saw it and I was like, oh man, I have to get this. It also has Garfield's Thanksgiving and Garfield's Halloween Adventure, but a Garfield Christmas. It was on that Xmas Specials tape. I watched it a million times. I was like, I got to bring it up for the show. I'm digging through piles of movies at this point. I got to ask you, do you like if you're trying to find something from your collection, do you know where it is? Are your movies in some sort of order that you can find your things, or is it like a whole to do?
I have them pretty well cataloged in my brain. I know, I separate like the the boutique stuff all like
Yeah.
together. So when I'm looking for a criterion, it's kind of hard because I don't with those I don't like alphabetize them, but my standard Blu-rays I have alphabetized, so they're easy to
Oh,
find.
okay. So the only thing that I have by label is Criterions, which are all in my living room, other than the stuff that I have like doubles of.
Yeah,
If I have doubles, it may have spilled somewhere else, but I order my Criterions by the spine number.
that's a cool way to do it. But so I did do that for a little while, and then I rearranged it because I wanted to have like all my Wes Andersons together.
I
And
get it.
then,
That's a fair.
did I lose you? You there? You
No,
froze
I'm
for a
here.
second.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
And like all my David Lynch's together and stuff. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Um, but
Okay.
then, so this is like an OCD thing though. 'Cause some of those are like that, but then others, I'm very OCD. I don't like having um, the digipacks all mixed in. So I have
Oh
all the
yeah.
digipacks together first. So all the cardboard boxes separate from all the plastic boxes.
Oh
So
boy. Yeah. Well, look, it's there's more rhyme and reason to that than what's going on in my basement, where it's literally like just little shelving units that are kind of full, and then in front of the movies, I've stacked piles of movies that are just like random things that I've probably brought up to my living room, and I was like, oh, I need to take this back downstairs, and those are all piled up. It's a real problem. I know I've gone on at length about that, but I need to get into a situation where I've got an organized uh,
yeah.
display of my collection. I did. Lindsay said to me that Edgar Wright had um, on Letterbox cataloged all his movies. He just like did a list of every movie that he owned, and I think I need to do that just for the purpose of knowing what they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I think I own that, and I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I do. And
Yeah.
then obviously, sometimes I've bought things that I already have.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. I
But
rebought Up in the Air before we were gonna do Up in the Air
oh
for an
yeah,
episode, so I bought I bought the Blu-ray thinking I didn't already have it, and then I got home and I was like, oh, I already have this.
yeah, that's a really rough scene. Anytime you
Well,
actually
do you
go
have
through with
anything
it.
else to show?
I have a few things to show, but
Okay, well, are we just going back and forth? I'll just show. I only have one other thing,
okay, please, yeah,
which you already know. You already saw this, but
yeah,
I found this was like the find
uh
of the
huh,
century.
absolutely,
This is the Vinegar Syndrome big special awesome magnetic box edition with like
yep.
I don't know a slipcover in there, the 4K super cool artwork, a booklet. Um, I thought that I had the receipt in here still. It might be. I don't know. But I found this for 25 bucks, and this goes for like close to 100 on eBay now because it's like long out of print.
Yes. For the
But
audio people only. You want to
yeah.
say what the title is?
Oh, did I not say the title? I'm sorry. It's Roadhouse.
Just the all-time classic, Patrick
Yeah.
Swayze as Dalton,
Yeah.
the cooler, not a bouncer, a cooler who
Yeah.
does martial arts and is just a absolute ladies man and all
Absolutely.
around
And like
cool.
Kung Fu Master, kind of.
Very zen. Very zen until he's like ripping dudes' throats out.
Yeah, I love the shots of him like in the field, like stretching his arms out and stuff. I'm
Yes.
thinking about building like a little shrine because I actually have a skateboard with Dalton on it too. And it's like it's from a local skate shop called Alumni, and it just has Patrick Swayze on it and says "Be nice" underneath it. Have I ever shown that to you?
No, I don't recall anyway.
All right, vamp for 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab it and show
Yeah.
you.
Be nice. I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice. Yeah, Roadhouse is great. That's awesome.
This is hanging on my wall now, but I need to like come up with some sort of shelf to put next to it underneath it for the Vinegar Syndrome 4K now.
Oh, very good. Keith just so far off mic showing the skateboard deck to me. You love to see it. Um, well, since that's the only other thing you brought, just as another holiday treat, I think I bought this as like just a little Christmas present for Lindsay last year, but also on my Xmas specials VHS were at least two of these three movies, if not all three. And I saw this as like a 3-pack 4K set. It's the Frosty the Snowman animated movie, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Just those movies that played on
Yeah.
basic cable in the run up to Christmas every year and still do, I think.
Dude, those stop motion animation movies are pretty cool. I haven't watched them in a very long time, but they just have such a cool look to them. I don't know. I
No, I
love that
totally
stuff.
agree. In a way that it's just like when I watch stuff that's made for kids now, a lot of times I feel like very underwhelmed by the look of it. Like it seems like it's made so cheap.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I was so hyped when Fantastic Mr. Fox came out because I was like, this is awesome. Wes Anderson doing a stop motion
Yeah,
thing.
it
And
is
the
fun.
Isle of Dogs was like that too, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a few other things. I'm going to try to roll through them quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
So I did my first Groove order because they were running like a 2 for $40 4K special.
Hmm.
One thing I got was a blind buy, and I remember seeing this on Dawn of the Discs and being interested in it. The movie is Matinee, directed by I think Joe Dante. Is that who it was? Yeah, directed by Joe Dante, and it's got John Goodman in it. I don't really know much about it other than obviously like it's called Matinee. There's a picture of a movie theater on the front. It seems like it's kind of weird, but fun. It's it's definitely something that takes place in the past. I think it's the '60s, and it just seemed like very up my alley. And it has a good letterbox score too. Like when I check, so it was checking a lot of boxes for me. And
Is that Shout Selects?
shout
Yeah.
select, yeah,
I almost grabbed that. I've never seen the movie, but I almost grabbed it in a sale once
yes.
too.
So look for
So you'll have
that.
to let me know if you like
Well,
it or not.
well, we'll look for it in a blind buy segment, coming to you in 2026. But the other thing I got in the 2 for 20, so that's obviously completely fine and intact. But I upgraded Clue to 4K, which is a fun movie that I also find kind of cozy and fun to experience during this time of year. And Lindsay likes Clue as well, so I was like, okay, this will be a good purchase. But I got it, and the 4K like case was completely like crushed and broken and holes through it, and like even like the little slip that goes on the inside, like the cover art slip, was like kind of sliced or whatever. And I was like, what happened? Was somebody like trying to inspect this for drugs or something? It was so weirdly tampered with, but the discs were fine. So I did ask, I sent them an email and they were like, Sure, yeah, no problem. We'll send you a return label. But here's the thing, Keith. I'm just like, now I have to do work. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
that sucks. In
I don't blame
in
them like for having that stance, but I don't think I'm actually gonna send it in. I just I ordered one empty 4K case, and I think I'm just gonna put it in there. And the slip that goes on the inside is a little messed up, but whatever. I can live with it. I don't. I was gonna have to pay money to get an envelope to like send the thing back anyway, and I'm just like, I don't really feel like going through all of that.
That's like a recurring, almost like just like a recurring joke in one of my group chats with some other YouTube people, like Jordan from the Movie Den. He's
Oh
always
yeah,
ordering stuff online, and it happens to him over and over again. Sorry, Jordan, that sucks, but
yeah, that's
like
awful.
he's always getting like busted steel books from like Shout Factory and stuff. So
I've
it,
had a pretty good run. One of the worst things that ever happened to me was one of the exchange stores in Pittsburgh. I love that I preface this with it's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. I tried to buy uh, the Hateful Eight on Blu-ray or whatever, and then I got home and I opened the Blu-ray, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation was inside of it, and
how does that happen?
I had a meltdown. I don't know. I had a full blown meltdown. So much so that I think Zach ended up going to another exchange and just buying me a different copy of Hateful Eight because I was just not. I didn't cope with it well. I was like, I spent $8 on this and I didn't get the right movie. Um,
Weird.
and then real quick, I did do an end of year Kino Lorber order. I
Okay.
saw a clip of Tracy Letts on The Big Picture or whatever, and he was talking about like 3 Days of the Condor with Robert Redford, and he was just like, if you don't own this, you need to just spend the $20 and get it. And I was like, okay, like this seems like the universe is sending me a sign. And of course, it's a '70s movie, so it's up my alley. Robert Redford, Faye Dunaway, Max von Sydow. It's like, okay, yeah, why not? The only bummer, not in a sleeve, but 3 Days in the Condor.
Have
I've
you not
never
seen
seen.
this movie, or
Yeah,
have you?
I have not seen it.
Oh, I watched it for the first time like last year or something. I liked it. It was cool.
Would recommend.
Yes, it's very you for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I felt like it was very me as well. So Sidney Pollack directed, and then just for funsies, Keith, a 2-pack. First, Ilsa, She Wolf of the SS,
Hell yeah.
followed by Ilsa, Harem Keeper of the Oil Sheiks.
I'm foreseeing a lonely night of you watching those by yourself when Lindsay is busy doing something else.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they're on her watch list. If I logged into her letterbox, I don't think these are sitting on her watch list right now. But I was telling Zach how I picked these up, and he was like, "Dude, Ilsa She Wolf of the SS is like so gross," and I was like, "Oh, that sucks," because I feel like I have a weaker stomach for things than he does when it comes to things in movies. Because obviously, you just want these things to be like super fun, these crazy
Yeah.
exploitation movies. But he was like saying that he thought Ilsa She Wolf of the SS was like pretty gross and there's like mutilation and stuff. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound fun, but whatever. I'm still gonna give him a shot. It's so just hilarious to me that these are on 4K and in sleeves.
Yeah. I think those Ilsa movies is like have you seen the memes of like where it's like it's just a clip from one of the movies where a lady like picks up the phone and she's talking to somebody on the phone and then she just like looks at the phone and pulls out a gun and like shoots the phone and then bullets come out the other side of the phone and like kill somebody. I want to say that clip is like from one of those Ilsa movies.
Yeah, that seems like it would track.
So it looks ridiculous and fun to me, but I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's not the right thing.
Well, I'm sure it is, but I think like maybe like it goes a bit far at times. All
Okay,
right.
is that all you got?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We're 34 minutes in. Okay, for those of you not watching on YouTube, that was not the sound of a beer or it was the sound of a beer, but it was an A&W sugar-free root beer, our favorite beverage on the show.
The best kind of beer. Yeah,
Yes.
I went with the. I don't know if you're familiar with the company Recess, but this is a a zero proof mocktail, peppermint
Okay,
bark teeny, a holiday mocktail.
that
Um,
looks tasty.
yeah, it's good. I like their stuff. Sometimes it's nice to mix in a little NA, stuff for little moments of clarity in your life.
Okay, well, before we get started with our six alternative Christmas movies, I'll just get something out of the way real quick. I will have timestamps for each movie. Like I said in the intro, these movies are like a wide range of genres and kind of moods. So I don't think fans of Silent Night, Deadly Night are necessarily going to be fans of Carol and Spencer.
Well,
So
unless it's me.
yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of most of these
Yeah.
movies too. Well, I'm a fan of all of them.
Okay, thank you.
I'll save my thoughts on one of them for a little bit later on. But so to start out, we're gonna do the dramas first. So we're gonna do Happy Christmas, and then we're gonna do. Did we say Spencer or Carol?
It's your pick.
Okay. Well, we'll do Carol second. Then we're gonna do Spencer. So those are like the dramas. Then to transition away from the dramas before we get to the slashers, we're going to talk about Reindeer Games. That'll be the fourth movie. And then how about we save Black Christmas for last because I feel like that's like top tier
That's the
holiday
closer.
slasher.
Okay.
So we'll do Silent Night, Deadly Night
Yeah.
fifth.
Yes. It's important
So
to everyone that we did this like on the show and not off mic.
well, I just wanted to let the people know because I feel like some people who listen might not be interested in one genre or the other.
Which is a shame. If you're a movie
Yeah,
person, you should be open to all.
yeah.
Come on.
We're fans of all genres here,
Yeah, that's right.
including Ilsa, She Woman of the SS or whatever. Okay, so do you want to give your thoughts on Happy Christmas, Matt? Or should we give like a quick
Yeah.
plot synopsis, or how do you want to do this?
No,
We
yeah,
didn't
no,
really
I
plan
can
this too well.
I can talk about what it is. And I guess we should even say before like going into Happy Christmas, the idea of like what we wanted to do was like six alternative Christmas movies. So movies to watch during the holiday season that aren't like the things that I held up earlier, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like Frosty the Snowman, like Charlie Brown Christmas, or like everyone's most known holiday movie, A Garfield Christmas. These are alternatives. So, every annoying person that you've ever talked to, the first thing that they jump to is saying Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I don't care about that argument. It's not. I don't even want to be in the conversation. Like
I
if,
know
if
that argument pisses some people off to no end, and I don't care either way. I just like
I don't care either. I just
yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to be around people having that discussion.
Okay,
Like if
Matt's
I'm
clearly one of those people who it pisses off.
I just don't want to be around it. I don't want to be around it.
I get it. It's super cringe at this time.
Yeah, it's just a conversation that's so overdone. Like I just don't want to.
It's done to
But
death for sure.
that being said, Happy Christmas is a Christmas movie. These are just different movies to watch during the holiday season. I have a bunch, like Lindsay and I, Spencer, Carol, and even though we're not doing it on this episode, Phantom Thread, we pretty much watch those every December. We watch Phantom Thread as our New Year's Eve movie.
Okay.
I
I mean that makes sense. There's that party or whatever, right?
There you go. See? Yeah. You're very observant, Keith. That's what we like about you.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Christmas. So these are movies. Joe Swanberg directed this. Indie guy, known for the mumblecore movies. Created that series Easy on Netflix, which was very much like his movies. I was into this stuff. And when I go back and watch this stuff, it's definitely like of a certain time period. Lena Dunham in this movie, whether you like her or dislike her, I would say she was pretty instrumental in this scene. Like in these types of movies, obviously she had her own tiny furniture movie, then goes on to make Girls, but she was in a few of these as well. She would pop up in them. But I like this movement of movies that happened. I always liked indie scene. I like dialogue driven movies. There's a lot of improv that goes on in these movies. Obviously, I think we've talked about it in the past, but Jay and Mark Duplass, the Duplass brothers, they were also kind of tangential to like this crew. They weren't really directly involved with this crew, but were making similar types of movies during the same time period. And I I liked these movies. I was aware of Happy Christmas when it came out, but I never watched it. So even though I consider myself a fan and somebody who was into this stuff, Happy Christmas had escaped me. But as I was getting into it, like the first thing I wrote down was just cozy opening credits.
Hmm.
I don't know who this dude is, Joel Almy or something. There's a ton of his songs in the movie, and I was like
Uh-huh.
digging all of it. Like I was like, I
I,
love.
li-
God,
I liked your letterbox review said something about like you kept shazamming the songs. And I remember not this time, but the last time I had watched this movie, I did the same thing. And I added the song that plays during like the climax of the movie, kind of where Jenny, I think is her name, the main character, is like
yeah,
she leaves a pizza in the oven and it like causes this chaos to happen, like all this like smoke fills the house or whatever. And the
yeah.
song is, did I write it down here? It's by this band called what? I can't find my note here. I forget what it was called. Um, it's
All the
called
music.
Friar. It's called Friar by a band called You Won't, I believe. I think that's what
Okay,
it is.
I
But
was
that song
digging.
slaps.
I was digging all the music, and it reminded me of a time where like most of the music I was getting into was stuff that I was hearing in these indie movies. Like it became a way for me to discover all sorts of different music because these people who didn't have huge budgets for their movies would use lesser known artists. And
Hmm.
from probably, I don't know, 2009 to 2014, which is a big time period for these types of movies, I was getting into a lot of music just through that channel. Because I'd kind of like, it's post high school, post college for me. So it's like not really getting into new music through friends or anything anymore. And it just became these movies. Like I discovered all sorts of artists that I wouldn't have otherwise found. And the crappy thing about a lot of those artists is like I don't have their music at all anymore because it's like not even on Apple Music.
Yeah. Well, luckily that one song is. I added
Yeah.
it to one of my playlists today, actually, after I was rewatching the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
I definitely grabbed some stuff from this
yeah,
movie, but yeah, well,
yeah,
you brought up the she put the whatever it was, the freezer pizza or whatever she put in. Yes. So you have a DVD of this?
yeah.
Is that what it is? Oh,
Yeah,
very
so
good.
you probably know more about this and the whole mumblecore. Oh shoot, hold on. But
Yeah.
yes, I have I have the DVD, and you were throwing out all these facts about Swanberg and um, all the mumblecore stuff. I'm the one who actually picked this movie,
Yeah.
but
Well, I
you
hadn't
know
seen
more
this
about it.
one. I was aware of it, but I hadn't seen it. And Anna Kendrick, I don't think she was in like a lot of the other works, but so she was kind
No,
of a get for this one. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like Joe Swanberg, I remember seeing Barbie in the theater. Like Greta Gerwig was one of these people who was kind of close to that scene, close to the indie, like what was happening in indie movies during that time period. And she put Joe Swanberg in Barbie, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
yeah. So I feel like at the beginning when we first started talking about this, we were going to give like a plot synopsis real quick for people who haven't seen the movie,
Yeah, sure.
but we kind of skipped over that. So do you want to do that real quick? Or you want me to do that?
Yeah, plot synopsis. I mean, the plot is basically like for everyone who remembers being like 25 to 27 and coming home to y- where you grew up or whatever and just being drunk with people you don't know and like going to local bars. That's the plot. And dealing with like weird family dynamics because of that.
Yeah. So Anna Kendrick's character, she moves back in with her brother, who has a 2-year old kid and his wife. And yeah, basically, Anna Kendrick's character is just kind of a mess. She's just drinking a lot. She's not a very likable character to me. I didn't like the last couple times I watched it, I was like very annoyed by her. But this time, watching like her relationship with her brother's wife,
Melanie
Um,
Linsky is who plays her,
yeah,
doing some kind of wild accent.
yeah, she's like Australian or something.
Yeah, that was
Maybe,
a
maybe that's the
little
accent. Um,
that was a little
but
surprising to me.
yeah, she's on the cover here. If you're watching on YouTube, I recognized her from like years later, obviously after seeing this
She's in a
movie.
lot. By the way, she actually is from New Zealand.
Oh,
So
she is. Okay, so that's
yeah.
her actual accent.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense because they obviously are trying to be authentic in these
Yeah,
movies. But I've like known her to be in a million things, like not doing a New Zealand accent, so it was more
yeah.
jarring.
Well, yeah, like I guess where I was going with that was like she came off as like a mega bitch to me the first couple times I
Yeah,
watched it, and this time I don't know if it's because I'm an actual parent now or
probably.
what, but
Yeah,
like my view on that has changed a little bit. But she shows up as like a villain in the Last of Us TV show,
that's
and she's
right.
super hateable in that too. And I
Yeah,
was like, she just like is typecast for that, I guess, but she's
yeah.
actually not as hateable as I remember her being because it'd been a couple years I think since I'd watched this, but
It depends. It depends how you're looking at it, Keith. I mean, when you first watched this movie, you were more like a Jenny. Now you're more like
yeah.
a Melanie Linsky. I'm still like a Jenny, Keith.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in my letterbox. Not to keep bringing up our letterbox reviews, but like when I watched it last year or a couple years ago, I don't remember when it was, but I was like, I think I wrote just something like, "Oh, everybody's had a Jenny phase or something." Like we've all been there, but that's probably not a true statement. But I definitely related to Jenny's character more in the past, just like kind of just not knowing where I was going in life and whatnot, just drinking too much and leaving chicken nuggets in the oven, and which
Absolutely.
I have
Well,
done before actually.
oh yeah. When like the first year Lindsay and I were dating, she had a couple incidents where she would like, I don't know, put canned soup on the stove or something, or like right before she, and then just pass out. And I was like, listen, yeah, we're gonna end up in like a Manchester by the Sea situation. Like, do not get like late night. If you want late night munchies, just like order Grubhub or something. But there was also an incident where we fell asleep after we ordered Grubhub. Like,
Yeah, me and Chris have both left shit in the oven before too, and yeah, I feel like that scene too. If I'm being nitpicky, like there was a lot of smoke. I don't think that's how it actually happened. The few times I left a pizza or nuggets in the oven.
let's just say late night snacking is a dangerous sport. Okay,
Yeah,
it's not exactly
for
safe.
sure.
Few things of note. I loved this like basement where she stays, like that whole like tiki bar setup that they had down there.
Yes.
Like just looking, like imagine if you had like a setup like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that I watched this with Chris a couple years ago too, and she said that about it when we watched it. She's like, because she's really into tiki stuff. She's like, I fucking love this basement. And
I
I
know.
actually noticed this time on watching it, there's a really funny scene where Joe's character and Anna Kendrick's character are down in that basement, and he's it's funny, he's going to look for a DVD or something, and finds out that she was smoking weed down there, and
Yeah,
he ends up smoking with her real quick,
right.
and he gets really high, and he's like laying on the bed or a little futon or whatever, and he's like, I'm so jealous you get to live in my basement. Like
Yeah.
that would be me if like my brother came to live with us or something. Like,
Listen, obviously I'm like far too old now, but there's definitely a part of me that wishes I had a moment like this in my, like I wish I had a place to stay like this when I was like 27 or whatever, like trying to find my way. I'd be like, this is this is all I aspire to do in life, like live in a basement that's been like transformed into a tiki bar, like straight out of 1950s Hawaii or something.
you know what my version of this was living on Chad and Brockway's couch for a little bit.
Yeah, slightly less cool.
Their place was awesome. That was like the
It was,
70s porn house.
yeah, well, it was like, yeah, 70s porn house slash like ski lodge.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It felt like it had like very ski lodge vibes in there. The part that was reminding me of my history was when she first gets back to town and she's gonna go out with Lena Dunham, and they went to that party, and everything starts off fine. She's talking to people, she's drinking, and then like she's just like trying to fall asleep in somebody's bed there. Like not sexually, like she's just like, I need to go to sleep. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Keith, how many times were you at a party with me? And I was like, I just
So
have to go to sleep.
I'm not you in those situations, not embarrassing, but you get secondhand embarrassment from watching that scene, or at least I do.
Yeah. I was always very good about putting myself to bed without causing a scene.
Yeah.
Like I just hit a wall. Even to this day, I mean, there was Lindsay and I were at a wedding just a couple of years ago, and we were with another couple, and we had kind of been out like throughout the day. It had been a long day of travel that involved an early morning flight and boarding a ferry at some point. It was a whole, you know, series of excursions just to even get settled in, and then we're like at the hotel bar, and then this other couple meets up with us, and we're hanging out for a couple hours, and I'm just like, I am toast. And I was just like, hey, I gotta go check for something in the room, and then I just never came back. Was just out. And the girl from the other couple, like the next day, was just like, wow, that was so good of Matt. He just like, put himself to bed and like I don't know, I'm not like burning the town down or something before.
So yeah,
um
very relatable. We relate to Jenny for sure. Um, I don't know.
yeah.
I had some other notes where I just kind of wrote down the fact that like I really like this movie, not just because of like that goofy, funny stuff and how relatable it is, but like there's like this might sound corny, but it feels like very authentic in like
Yeah.
the awkwardness between Jenny and her brother's wife, and like especially when she like first moves in, there's like this tension, and like I think part of what makes it really good is like the like you said, there was a lot of improvisation, I think, and this
Mhm.
movie just feels like almost the whole thing was just improvised, and they're just like it feels like that. I don't know that for sure,
No,
like,
that's kind of the
but
part of the mumblecore thing is like there's usually like an outline of a script. There's a certain amount of scenes that they're going to do, these scenes that they're trying to move the story forward. Like there's an idea of a story, there's an outline, and then you're just going to be in the scene and sort of like have conversations with these people, and they're meant to be natural and sort of like what you would say. I mean, yes, you're acting, you're playing a character, but like I think the dialogue is meant to feel authentic because it's what people are just saying conversationally.
yeah, it works for me for sure. And we touched on it before too, but that the climax of the movie to me just feels like even though it's like a low, like the lowest point for Jenny's like leaving the pizza in the oven, but when that song hits while all that stuff is happening, there's like kind of like a montage of her like smoking and drinking in the basement and like whatever, and all this chaos is happening. And that song, I did look it up again. It's called Friar by a band called You Won't.
Okay.
It hits for me. So
All
yeah.
right. You love to hear it. Yeah. Well, these movies, like these series of movies, the whole uh, mumblecore and even like the tangential movies that were around this time period, because there was more of this stuff going on, and I liked it. But I think maybe where people would be critical or these people aren't really moved by these films is they just feel like, well, what is this? What's the point? It just feels like certain moments of these characters' lives, but there's no real story or theme here. Like, is it? I think what a lot of people think of these. Um, I always felt like, wow, a lot of this seems so authentic and like straight out of life for me. So I'm like at least interested in it, even if it doesn't feel like it comes to maybe the natural conclusion that you're used to of a more like cinematic experience. But I always liked these types of movies.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you.
I do think you
It's
and
like it's not gonna work for you if you can't really relate to the characters, which is an understandable
yeah.
criticism to have. I think like if you're if you're like 45 when this movie comes out and you already like are grown up and like don't
Yeah.
remember your 20s, like that's not gonna be, maybe it's not as relatable to you. But these came out right when we were in that period. Like this came out 2014, 2015. Like
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
27. I was Jenny's age when this movie came out.
Right. And that's when I was watching a lot of these too. And that, I guess like watching it this time, I certainly didn't relate to the character's behavior now, but like it definitely reminded me of a time.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I like these movies. I do think you and me might be in the minority on Happy Christmas when I checked Letterbox when I logged it. I mean, I gave it 4 stars, but I think the average is 2.9, so not
Yeah.
necessarily beloved, but um, which I do kind of get why this and movies of this ilk aren't for everyone. Um, one of the movies I talked about on the show was Your Sister's Sister, and I feel like that was another one that was part of this whole like
Yeah.
camp, this series of types of movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, does that do it? You got anything else to say about Happy Christmas?
No, I think we can transition to the next drama of the drama section.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, if you're a physical media person, this is the only way to get this movie. As far as I'm aware, Happy Christmas is only on DVD.
Wow.
All right.
It's interesting though because it definitely came out when it like well into the Blu-ray era. Like
Yeah. Yeah. When I was
the,
looking it up when I bought that, I don't remember if I bought that last year or a couple years ago, but that was the only copy that I could find. But yeah.
okay, very well. So what did you say we were going to do next, Carol?
So next, yeah, let's have you kick Carol off.
All right. I saw Carol in the theater. It's directed by Todd Haynes. I do not have a copy of it. However, on Dawn of the Discs this past year, I saw that there was like some French release or something that was inclusive of the 4K and like the soundtrack on vinyl, and it was like I don't know $75 or something. And I was like, I feel like I need to get this, but I didn't. You know, sometimes I do have moments of willpower, kind of like with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy thing. I was like, do I absolutely need this? And it's like, no, I don't. Um, and I didn't get it, but this is a movie. It's I will say, Keith, one of the things that sometimes holds me back from buying things too is like if I know that a movie has been on the same streaming service for like a while, and I can count on it being there. And some of these movies, I mean, I think Carol's on HBO Max right now. Is that where you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it on HBO.
Yeah. But it was also on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, at one point. It's been available on streaming every time I've ever wanted to watch it. So that was another reason why I didn't buy it. Although you can't ride that logic forever. People are pointing out more and more on the internet that's like, you can't count on this stuff being available. That's why you have to buy it. But I liked it quite a bit when I saw it in the theater. It was definitely one of my favorite movies of that year. Todd Haynes is a director who I'm not like a diehard fan of his, but I generally like his movies. I actually liked his, I think it's called Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo. I saw that in the theater too, and then never again, but I liked it quite a bit. And then a couple years ago or whatever for Netflix, he did May December with Natalie Portman, which I also liked. And he's got a couple movies in the Criterion Collection as well. I think Safe is one of them with Julianne Moore, which I watched this past year actually. And Carol features two incredible actresses. One, Rooney Mara, who we've been on the record that I am a big fan of, particularly in our when we covered Social Network. And then Kate Blanchett, who's just an all-time legend. You know, she's just been in a
Yeah.
million great movies. And it's a love story in the 50s. It's a period piece. Um, Obviously, their relationship is sort of frowned upon and they're kind of having to have it in secret. Kate Blanchett is playing Carol, who was a kind of upper class married woman who has been going through a divorce and starts a relationship with this character, Therese, who's played by Rooney Mara, who's younger and trying to find her way in the world. And it's you get the sense that she doesn't quite really know who she is early in the movie, even from a sexual preference standpoint. Like she definitely gets a lot of attention from males because she's absolutely stunning. So you're not surprised by that. But when she meets Carol, she's completely, enamored with her, and it changes her life. One of the things I love about this movie, let me say two things I love about this movie. One, the wardrobe. I love the outfits and everything. Like I think Therese's outfits, Rooney Mara's characters are like authentic like pieces from the time period or whatever. And it just the look of everything is so cool. And then the other thing that I love about it is too, like halfway through the movie, just unexpectedly, it becomes a road movie where the two of them are like driving through the country to all these states. Like they're in like Ohio, then they because the movie starts off in New York City, but they drive from New York City and they go through like, of course, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana. I don't know how far out they make it, but they're in like all these, small middle of America towns, like hitting these like diners and these old hotels, which we've talked about before. Like one of the things that's great in movies is when you can see these places, especially like back before everything was a chain and there were just like this standalone hotel with like this cool architecture. And I don't know, I love that stuff. I just absolutely love that stuff. And I think a while back when I logged this on Letterbox, I wrote like, I don't know if there's ever been a more palpable moment in film than when Carol puts her hand on Teresa's shoulder, and at the end of the movie, I'm like, I've never been shook so much than the hand on that shoulder. So what did you think of Carol, Keith?
It took me a minute to like kind of get into it, to be
Yeah,
honest. Because it is very slow
it is
getting
slow.
started, I think.
Yeah,
Um, I think once this stuff starts happening with like Kate Blanchett's like husband and stuff, and there's like a real conflict with him trying to be this like
hard.
controlling
Yeah,
thing, and he's holding their daughter kind of above her head and being like, you need to like stay married to me, like you were saying, like back then obviously her lifestyle was like very frowned upon, and he probably was like, so one of the notes I wrote was like he's an interesting character because
yeah,
he is like a massive dick to her for sure,
yep,
but I get the sense that he does actually love her and he just kind of feels like inadequate or something because of her choice to, you know, pursue these other relationships obviously and leave
yeah,
him. um but that whole aspect of the movie was cool. Obviously Rooney Mara and Kate Blanchett give like incredible performances. I wrote something about that on my letterbox. I was like, their
yeah,
performances are incredible. My favorite scene, I think I mentioned on Letterbox too, was just it was during when Carol is like having their lawyers are there, and it's closer to the end of the movie, I
yeah.
think,
That
where
that
they're
that scene is intense.
yeah when they're having they're talking about custody. Basically, they're fighting over the custody of their kid, and Carol is basically just like she kind of like breaks down, and she's just like she actually kind of comforts her husband in a weird way, and she's like, "You just take her. I just want to have visits. I don't want this to get dirty and nasty."
Yeah.
Um, Probably should have given a spoiler warning for that. Sorry if you haven't seen this and you're interested, but that to me was like the moment of the movie, and like Kate Blanchett's performance was like incredible there.
Yeah, she's really strong, and obviously she's just an absolute powerhouse
Yeah,
when it comes to anything. But yeah, it's super emotional. Her whole struggle is she's a lesbian who wants to live that lifestyle, but is definitely like living in the shadow, like having to live a closeted life to keep up appearances with because her husband Harge. I don't know if that's his like real name, but
yeah,
that's what they call him. It's like what his name's Harge, played by Kyle Chandler. They're country club folks. Like they're very wealthy. They're of the elite, and there's appearances to keep up. And but she's let this control her, and it's just she wants to find her happiness, and she falls in love with the uh, Therese character, played by Rooney Mara, and she wants to be able to pursue this. But there's the whole conflict of the movie is her starting to be like, okay, I need to push away from this and just live this closeted life because it allows me to spend time with my daughter. That's
mhm,
what, because if I pursue this life that makes me happy, they're gonna take my daughter away from me, and that's ultimately what she sacrifices.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So ultimately, for me, I guess if you want my overall opinion, it won me over by the end for sure. But like I said, it's a little bit slower going in the beginning, and not being as big of a fan of like 50s fashion as you, it was a little
Yeah.
harder for me to get into, but I thought it was shot really well too. Like there's
Yeah.
lots of shots of like looking in through cars, like you said, like there's a lot of stuff like on the road,
Yeah, a
and
lot
like
of
you see the
perspective
like
stuff.
dew on the glass and stuff, and I feel like there's some cool stuff with like Rooney Mara like taking photographs and stuff that's cool.
Yeah,
So
well, it's like a big part of it is a female gaze movie.
hmm
Like instead of the classic male gaze, it's
yeah.
definitely a female gaze movie. And yeah, there's a lot to your point. It's a lot of perspective shots. It's through cameras, it's looking through glass. So
And
it's
without spoiling too much too, I think part of the reason why I liked it so much was because I think I was expecting it to have like a really bad downer ending, and it kind of doesn't really. Without spoiling too much, it kind of like
yeah.
it seems like somewhat hopeful by the end. So
I think
that was
so
a plus
too.
for me.
I think so too. I find it to be an incredibly romantic movie.
Yeah.
um, it's a good love story. Lindsay enjoys it as well, and we've watched it pretty much every Christmas season for the last few years. I don't think she saw it in the theater with me, but it was, I think it was one of those things where Zach and I did it for the show a few years ago, and she watched it with me then, and she kind of dug it and has just gotten more into it. There's certainly Christmas music sprinkled throughout. I mean, it heavily takes place around the holiday time when they're doing that road trip. It's like it takes place like through Christmas and into New Year's. So um, that's why I think it works as a Christmas movie. In Happy Christmas, I guess the obvious reason why it's a Christmas movie is because of the title. But
hmm
like, what? Why else is Happy Christmas an alternative Christmas movie? I
I
think
mean,
it's
you do
taking.
get the scene. It's taking place over like Christmas Eve through like the week of
Yeah,
Christmas, basically,
yeah,
because like towards the end, it's like they are opening presents
right.
by a Christmas tree. But yeah,
Yes, yes. When she's out at the bar with I can't remember his name. Is it Mark Webber, the actor, the guy that plays Steven Stills in Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
yeah, yeah,
Her love interest. He's like their last night out together when they're getting drunk and she wants to hook up and he doesn't or he's like I can't go. I'm like it's Christmas tomorrow. I'm going to my mom's house or whatever.
yeah. I
That's
think she could have stayed over still.
I was like, it seems like you could still make this work.
Yeah, you can figure it out.
Yeah, well, she obviously gets like very aggressive with him at that point. It's
Yeah,
just like F you. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? To be fair, I think she's right.
yeah.
So sorry, quick jump
No,
back
it's
into
okay.
Happy Christmas. We didn't talk about why it was a Christmas movie, so I felt like
Yeah. Well, I mean,
um
Christmas is in the name, so
that's true. That counts. That's enough. Um but yeah, anything else on Carol?
no, I liked it. So I probably wouldn't have given this a shot if you hadn't brought it up. I don't remember. I probably didn't listen to your previous show's episode on it because I hadn't seen it. Um, but
I
yeah,
was
I
I,
I liked it.
I tried to just put that old Greatest Moments episode on just to get ready for this, but I only listened to like a few minutes and I didn't even make it into the content of the actual us covering the movie because
Yeah.
but the beginning of it like was cracking me up because I was talking about just being completely overwhelmed by how many movies I had and I'm like I have movies on my second floor, on my first floor, and in my basement. And like finding which one I'm gonna watch is like a completely overwhelming experience. And I'm like, wow, like 2 or 3 years have passed since I did this episode, and it's only gotten worse.
All right.
Um, okay,
Well,
so
on that
to
note,
round out, you want to round out the drama portion of this episode?
sure. Yeah. So, uh, a movie that I had not seen, another movie that I had not seen, and this was one of your picks, obviously. So, Spencer. Um, I didn't write down what year this came out, but
Not that long
recent.
ago.
It's not
It's
too old.
pretty recent. Definitely in the last few years. I would say either 3 or 4 years ago. Zach,
Yeah.
Lindsay, and I saw it in the theater together, and it looks like it was 2022.
Okay. So only a couple years old. Stars Kristen Stewart. And she plays Princess Diana, kind of struggling with her mental health, as she's kind of like going through, or getting ready to go through a divorce with her husband. And I'm assuming this is like semi biopic-ish, right? Like this is supposed to be based in reality.
It's
I don't
semi.
know
It's
much
yeah.
about Princess Diana at all, so you're gonna have to fill in some gaps there.
Oh yeah, like I know.
Oh, I just assumed since you picked it, maybe you were up on
Well,
it.
my most familiarity with it is this movie. Like,
Okay.
if you want to know like the real stuff, I think you need to watch like The Crown or something. But
Okay.
um, so the it starts off with some words on the screen, Keith, that say a fable from a true tragedy,
Okay.
and I think they're taking some like a decent amount of real details. Like most of the characters are real people, at least a decent amount of them are. And it takes place, I think, a year before her and Charles get divorced. So roughly this is like the last Christmas that they're together.
Hmm.
And
So that's what makes it a Christmas movie.
absolutely, it does take place at Christmas time,
Yeah.
Christmas time with the royal family. Wait, before I go any further, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I've told you that I like this movie before. I know I've said like Spencer. It's another movie that me and Lindsay watch like probably every December now.
Hmm.
Um, but when I've said I liked Spencer, did you know what it was?
I don't think so. No.
Like
I
when
had
you
to look.
started watching this, were you like, what? Like at what point were you like, oh, this is Princess Diana?
I watched a trailer for it and
Okay,
looked up the IMDb, I think,
okay, so
before
you
I
knew
actually
that.
watched it. And funny note about the, just all the not knowing about the royal family stuff. My wife Chris is like super into that stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's all about it. So she was like, when I told her I had to watch this movie and what it was about, she was like, "Oh, I'm down to watch this." She was bored out of her mind. She didn't like it. I was
Um.
surprised. I also, when I alluded to not really liking one of the movies here, sorry to say, but I wasn't like the biggest fan of this movie either. But
Oh man.
I'm not gonna like trash it. I think I gave it like 3 stars on Letterboxd. I like Kristen Stewart usually, but I don't know if it's just because I don't know enough about the royal family, or maybe I just don't give a shit about it. It's like it's hard for me to get invested in a character that just the way she portrays her. I think part of it too is the fact that it's not like a descent into madness for her. She's struggling from the very beginning. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of like
You
out
can
there
tell
a
that
little bit.
there's a lot. You get like that. There's a lot of history here. This is
Yeah,
like this is the end of the line, really. I think
yeah. I
that
mean,
that's what.
I was sympathetic for her. Like there's like a scene in like a pool room or something where she's like
Yeah,
talking to Charles, and that scene kind of got me a little bit and started getting me on her side. But I don't know, dude.
yeah,
It might make
I,
me sound like a dick or something, but it's hard for me to relate to these like royal people who I just don't
yeah.
give a shit about. They're just rich for no reason and don't have to do anything, and I'm just jealous of that, I guess maybe. I don't
Well,
know.
no, well, I feel like she's also one of these people that's kind of like, what is this life? I mean, I feel like she's like kind of highly critical of it.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
like I said, by then, so I was feeling sympathetic for her in that scene. And then also at the very end, too, without spoiling it, like, she kind of like, I don't want to, can we spoil it? I don't know.
yeah, we can spoil it. I mean, we can spoil it.
So the scene, like, right towards the end of the movie, too, where, so they had 2 sons together, right? And they're out doing some traditional stuff, like some ritual that they do, like, with all the older royal men, right? Where they go out and they go duck hunting or something.
I think it's like pheasants or something.
Or
Yeah,
pheasants or something,
yeah,
some bullshit. But throughout the movie, there's been like a little thing where she doesn't want them to go because they have said they don't want to or something. Basically, she goes and like rescues them from that, and like they run away, and that's like the end of the movie. And they're just
yeah,
like singing this song and driving
yeah.
away, and they're like all happy and stuff. And I'm like,
Mike and the
okay,
mechanic.
she's just
All I
like
need is a
being a good
miracle.
mom. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. She takes him to get fast food.
yeah. So
Um,
like by the end I liked her, but throughout I don't know. It's hard to explain why. I guess I wasn't
no, I
into
get
it,
it.
but
I definitely, yeah, I totally get people not liking this movie, but really it wasn't like Carol where like Carol I loved in the theater and I loved it immediately. This was more like I really liked it, but I like, to be fair to Chris, I was like I was bored during parts of it the first time I ever saw it, but I was like so sucked back in for the ending. I loved when they were playing like Mike and the
Mhm.
Mechanics, All I Need Is a Miracle, and singing along to it, and that like she takes him to KFC. I was like, this is such a great ending to this movie. I don't own the movie, but I do have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Nice.
This is it's another Johnny Greenwood score. Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, who mostly does Paul Thomas Anderson's scores, and
Hmm.
they're all good. Like Phantom Thread, I think is a real highlight. Um, this one, it's a lot of like weird, discordant, like sorrowful sorrowful string music.
Hmm.
Like a lot of piano, a lot of strings, all kind of dark, ominous, sad, aka totally for me. Directed by Pablo Larraín, who also directed a movie about Jackie Kennedy with Natalie Portman, like a couple years before this, which is kind of similar. And I liked that too. It's but I feel like Natalie Portman doing the Jackie Kennedy and uh, Kristen Stewart doing the Princess Diana are performances that I do think that they're both great, but they take, so you gotta like ease into it because they're both kind of intense. Like they both have very intense manners of speaking, and that is one of the things that's like weird and almost off-putting, like the way that they deliver dialogue. And I think that they're both probably very spot on to what they're trying to do, but it's a
That was going to be
little.
one of my questions about the authenticity. Was like that did throw me off. Was like just her mannerisms and, like you said, like the way she talks and stuff. That threw me off too because I don't know. She just seemed like not a real character or something. I don't know. And then I kind of like I wanted to ask Chris. I don't know why I didn't, but I should have asked her. Like, is that how Princess Diana actually was? Did she have those weird, quirky mannerisms and like?
I don't know. I mean, I think part of the movie though too is like, well, it's part fantasy. Like there's definitely like straight up just like weird shit that's not real happening in it. Which I kind of like that stuff. Uh
Yeah.
the other part though is that this is all behind the scenes. You mentioned the billiard scene, and I think kind of the key of that scene is Charles is like, there has to be two of us. There's the one that everyone sees, and then there's the real one. And it's like in this movie, we're seeing the real her. Like, and she's
Yeah.
crack. One of my favorite things is like because she loves Maggie, the girl that does her dresses or whatever. Like, and in that same scene, Charles is like, someone said Maggie said you're cracking up. Like, and then like she can't let that go. She's asking like she's like, did Maggie say I was cracking up? And but she is cracking up. If Maggie said that, she's dead right. Like,
Yeah.
and that like this whole life, and she's being cheated on too. Like it's alluded to, if not outright said, in that movie, and that is a piece of the story that is real. Um,
Yeah.
for those of us that
Was
don't really
I feel
follow
like
these
in that
things,
scene they were also alluding to her maybe kind of messing around on the side a little bit too,
he accuses her more so.
but you're not supposed to think she actually was. Okay.
Who's to say? I don't know. Obviously, like there was turmoil there, and she's gotten to a pretty bad place with it all. But I actually feel like I don't know if the movie intends this to be the thing, but I feel like at the end when she takes the boys back from shooting pheasants or whatever, he has a moment where he like where Charles is like, go to her, help her. Like it's I feel like it's a kind of a redeeming moment for him where you're like, he's obviously doing something that's not great, but there is care there still.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it's a little peek at this is the real him. Like he has a him that's for everybody else, and you're barely seeing the real him. She's like way more comfortable being like, I need to be the real me. Like I can't do all of this like fraudulent, pretentious stuff. I just need to like act like a regular person. Like I can't do this. And
Yeah.
he is like all the time on guard being like the fake persona, and like in this moment that like cracks a little. And I
Yeah.
like that part at the end. And then it even more so when the boys go to her and, you know, it's they're having a very regular experience, which is, driving, bumping the jams, convertible top off, and then rolling up to a KFC, just like you and me, Keith.
Yeah, exactly. One
But
last thing that I wanted to
yeah,
just touch on real quick. Something that I thought was cool that they played with just a little bit, but then you didn't really get to see much more of him was just the chef character. Why do we see so much of the chef? Like it's like enough to like tease you to want to see more, but
yeah, it seems like what they were just getting at is there was like just certain people in the staff. There's so few people that you're able to be friends with. There's like
yeah.
when you're living this lifestyle, there's like
Mhm.
the royal family who seem tough. It seems like a tough situation there. And then there's like the staff that you're around and guards and security and stuff. And like, so you have so few people to form real relationships with. So she had like a little bit of just a friendship with that guy. But he's always
Yeah.
like trying to get her to not be causing a scene and she can't help herself.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I like. But I also think there's a ton of cool imagery and stuff in the movie. There's a part like towards the end where it's like kind of going through her as a youth because she grew up by this castle that they're at. There's this scene where like a different version of her is dancing in a red dress on a black and white floor, and I'm like, well, this is like straight out of Twin Peaks. I'm like, hell yeah. I don't know. There's just like cool music, a very like memorable score for me, and some very cool imagery. I like when she dresses up the scarecrow in her like crazy fancy yellow dress. Um, I don't know. It's a movie that I did like in the theater, but it's grown on me even more, and it's a yearly viewing for me, even if it won't be for you, Keith.
Yeah. That's one thing I forgot to mention about Happy Christmas too, and Carol. Well, I guess we kind of mentioned it with Carol, but all three of these movies do look great. Like,
Oh
and
yeah,
did you notice even in Happy Christmas, like the lowest budget one probably, in the end credits, I noticed that they go out of their way to say it was shot on like Kodak film, and it
yeah.
looks awesome.
I totally agree. And Spencer, I feel like is one of the best looking movies I've seen in the last like in recent memory. Like I
Yeah,
feel like Spencer looks like really good, and I
yeah,
love the look of Carol too. But there's something about the look of Spencer that I'm like, I mean, it's kind of got this faint like at dusk type look to it the whole time.
hmm,
But I just think it looks really sharp.
yeah.
So
Okay, well,
that
does that do
concludes.
it on our first round? We might take a quick little break here before we get into our not drama Christmas movies.
Please, yes.
Okay, Matt, we're done with the drama. It's time to have some fun. I got another A&W sugar-free root beer here, a little bit of
Absolutely.
whiskey. It's time to talk about reindeer games.
Yeah, so this was I guess we should explain that this was a last minute pivot pick because you had wanted to do something which I assume you own the 4K of that movie.
Oh yeah, I can
Yeah,
show it real quick.
yeah, please.
So we were originally gonna do this movie that's kind of like rumored to have been like the inspiration for Home Alone. I don't know if you've heard about this, but so I'm talking about Deadly Games.
When I was frantically trying to find where to stream this, I was reading that.
Yeah, so it's kind of got some lore behind it. It's a cool movie, and I kind of wish we could have talked about it. So maybe
I
we'll
thought
talk about it again sometime on the show.
I thought I read that the guy that made this was like incensed about Home Alone and was like flipping out trying to like sue them or
Yeah,
something.
he threatened to sue him. From my
Yeah,
I only did minimal research like
sure.
usual on the show,
Same.
but
Yeah.
I what I found was he threatened to sue them, but he never
Okay.
actually went through with it.
Yeah.
But it's not even really that similar. Like after watching it, it's like you got this little, if you're not, if you're just listening, the cover has this kid that looks like Rambo with like toy guns and knives and grenades strapped to him, and like
Yes.
it's not so much about him like setting these traps and stuff. It's kind of just he lives in this mansion basically with his grandfather, and this dude dressed up as Santa Claus is out to get him because he got fired from his job and his mom's the one who did it. I don't know. But it is a fun movie, but it's not that similar to Home Alone. It definitely has like a little bit of a darker tone, but I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it one
Well, I
time later
I
on.
I was totally like you had said that it was on Shutter. I think it was on Shutter until like pretty recently. I had just canceled my Shutter like a month ago, but I was like, if that's the only way I can get it again, then I'll do it. But I was totally willing to rent it. I'm just like, I'll just rent it. That's fine. I'll rent it. And not, I go to Amazon, not there. YouTube, because you can rent movies there, not there. And I just like Google it, and it's like the only thing that it was on was I can't even remember what it was. It was some service that I like. I don't know what this is. But you had to pay like $30. You had to like sign up for like a monthly subscription, which you could then cancel, but it was like $30 a month. So I'm like, listen,
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
willing to
fine.
go like,
You don't
I,
have to over explain it. It's totally cool. I don't mind it. $30 is probably more than what I spent on that Blu-ray. But there you go,
I,
people. That's why you should buy your physical
yeah,
media.
that's true. It's absolutely a good point. Once again, I looked because that's a 4K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I looked and I think it's still available on Amazon to buy the actual 4K, but it was almost $50 or whatever. And I'm like, you know
Oh,
what? I think this is I'm willing to be pretty dedicated for this show, but like I think this is maybe pushing it, and I'm not gonna be able to make it work.
no,
Um,
that's okay. I'm kind
for
of
the,
glad anyways because I actually had a lot of fun watching Reindeer Games, and I had never actually watched it. I think it you messaged me and I was in Preplayed, my local like used store, and I was looking at the VHS tapes and I saw Reindeer Games right in front of me when I saw your text, and I was like, "Boom, let's do that." Like I've never seen it.
yeah,
It sounds fun.
perfect. I also had never seen it in its entirety. I had seen like the beginning of it, and I think I'd caught parts of it like on TV back in the day, but this was also my first time watching it all the way through. So
Mhm.
it was. It was certainly a fun experience because it just we've talked about it before, but it just goes back to a time when kind of bigger budget action filmmaking was all a certain way, and this
Mhm.
definitely felt of that time. It's directed by John Frankenheimer. It was his last movie. He was a
Mhm.
guy that directed like a bunch of stuff in the 70s,
Yeah.
and I think he directed like pretty consistently, through the whole last whatever 30 years of his life because he did like The Island of Dr. Moreau, I think in maybe 96.
He has a movie in the Criterion Collection called Seconds, which I haven't seen, but now that
Okay.
after watching Reindeer Games, I really want to watch it. And he also directed a movie that we haven't talked about on the show, but I did like a little video talking about just like some underrated action movies from Arrow Video, and he directed this one called Black Sunday, which
Oh
has
yeah.
Robert Shaw in it
Oh
from
fun.
it's Robert Shaw is from Jaws, right? That's am I getting
Uh
his name mixed up?
well that's Quint.
Quint, yeah. So yeah, it has
Okay.
Quint in it. It's the movie about the Super Bowl gets like a blimp
Oh.
at the Super Bowl gets taken over,
Yeah,
and
I've
it's a
never
really
seen
cool
that.
movie. We should do that on the show
That's
sometime
great.
because I think
Well,
you would like it.
this unexpectedly turning into a John Frankenheimer
Yeah.
segment. So I think maybe his most famous movie though is The Manchurian Candidate, which I've never seen, but I think that's a Criterion too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was him. He directed also The French Connection 2, the sequel to William Friedkin's movie. And then I also watched a random one of his movies, I think on Tubi or maybe Prime, called 52 Pickup, which doesn't have Robert Shaw, but fellow Jaws alum Roy Scheider it was in
Okay.
it. And it's just kind of one of those like crappier 70s crime movies that are just fun.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, this movie it's trying really hard to be like funny and sexy and stuff, but it's like It kind of just I can't even really tell if it's self-aware or if it just misses the mark. Like
Yeah, I know. It is like you can definitely trash reindeer games like at length, but it's still fun. Like,
I mean I had a great time watching it,
yeah,
but I saw some like I skimmed through Letterbox and people do not like this movie, and I think those
I know.
opinions are valid, but I had
Yeah.
fun with it still.
Well, there's definitely like it's one of those movies that by the time you get to the last twist, because there are several twists, and by the
Yeah.
time you get to the last twist, you're like, okay, like this is so stupid because there's
But
just been too many twists.
before we get too far along,
Yeah,
can I give like my best shot at like a quick plot synopsis?
please. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So basically, Ben Affleck is in prison when the movie starts out, and his cellmate has this pen pal girlfriend who she sends him pictures, but for some reason he doesn't send her pictures, so she doesn't know what he looks like. And
Plot
that
hole.
pen pal, yeah, so that pen pal girlfriend is played by Charlize Theron. Basically,
Who?
the day before or a couple days before they're set to be released, Ben and his cellmate are set to be released on the same day. He gets shanked in like the cellmate gets shanked in like a mini prison riot type deal,
Hmm.
and Ben Affleck when he gets out decides he's like I haven't got laid in a while. Maybe I should just pretend to be my cellmate, and then I can spend a couple days with Charlize Theron getting it on.
Well, he definitely was showing some interest in her when he was just seeing her picture and stuff from prison. I mean,
That's
it
true,
is
yeah.
it is Charlize Theron. I mean, she is an absolute mega babe.
Yeah, and there's some or at least one sex scene where there's like some nude shots and stuff and it's kind of hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so.
But so should I continue? Where did I
Yeah,
leave off?
please.
So
Yeah.
Ben gets released from or his name's Rudy in the movie, right? Which is kind of like there's a lot
Yeah,
of like Christmassy puns in this movie like I
for
think
sure.
Nick, Saint Nick, they keep calling
Yeah.
him Nick. So basically they're
Yeah,
having this like
it's Nick
nice
and
couple
Rudy.
days vacation after he gets out and he's pretending to be his cellmate Nick. Um, and supposedly, without spoiling it, Charlize's brother, in quotes, shows up with a bunch of goons, Danny Trejo being one of them.
Yeah.
And they have struck this plan which makes no sense. The plan is to use the plan is to use Nick to get information on how to rob this
Dude,
the
so many times.
worst casino,
So
the
many
shittiest.
so many times I'm like, why have they not just killed who they think is Nick? Why have they not
There's
just
a
killed this guy?
there's a million times when they should have killed him. Well, 100%.
And they're like, what do they think that they're actually extracting from him?
But along the long list of many things that don't make sense in this too, I also wrote down. So this gang of goons, apparently they're all just semi truck drivers. They've
Yeah.
never robbed a place before. Ben Affleck's character Rudy has more experience robbing and stealing stuff than they do. So it's like, but then like Charlize tells him that like her brother has killed people before. So I don't know if that was supposed to be a lie,
Well, that
but
yeah, well, she at some point in the movie, there's like multiple reveals with her. The first one is that she's been, gaming the whole thing with Nick, and she's the guy that you think is her brother. She's actually in a sexual relationship with.
all right, full spoilers, everybody. It's I don't care. Let's
We
spoil
have
it.
to. I mean, it's a 25-year-old movie. We just spoiled a
Yeah.
movie from like 3 years ago.
Okay. All right. Full spoiler warning right
Yeah,
here. Sorry
it's
if
the
you
Christmas special.
yeah. We got to spoil these movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I cut you off.
No, I just like that. The first reveal is, oh wow, she's absolutely playing Nick, and it turns out her brother, who is it, Gary Sinise that plays her brother in quotes.
Yeah, Lieutenant Dan
Yeah,
from
who's still it's of the era where he was still very Lieutenant Dan E.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
mean,
was like,
this is 2000. I don't know what year
yeah,
Forrest Gump was,
I
but
don't know, 98 maybe.
yeah.
I don't know, something like that. And yeah, it was maybe it was earlier than that. I guess it probably was, but whatever. um, he still seemed very Lieutenant Danny. I was like,
Yeah.
yes. Uh, and there's a reveal that she's like, "Oh, I've been playing Nick because I'm actually in a relationship with this guy I've been saying is my brother." And I think it's implied that it's not really her brother, right? No, yeah, I mean, like, let's just say it's not.
I hope it's not really her brother because there's a scene where he's talking to Charlize in a pool and they start like macking on each other.
Yes, it's not really her brother. However, it almost feels like in that scene they're leaving it open ended. Like maybe it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
But then it goes. She's even like, but then she's even more diabolical than that because she's also playing him.
Yeah. There's a lot of double crosses, a lot of ridiculous. This movie feels very late 90s, early 2000s.
Absolutely.
Like
It
uh
feels very like knockoff of the ones that were bigger
yeah.
successes, and I think this one was a box office bomb. It made money, not a profit, but it made some money. It wasn't like it did nothing, but it did not make its budget back.
Yeah. I mean this was the first time I'd ever watched it, but like you, I think I had seen like pieces of it on like TV before.
Yeah.
But like I remember seeing trailers for it or advertisements for it when I was a kid. So I don't think it was like a small movie. But
No, no. It was like a big budget, meant to be blockbuster movie, and we talked about Ben Affleck, becoming a superstar in the Dogma episode, although this was probably one of the ones in the long line that led him to, you know, needing slash wanting to do Chasing Amy, or not Chasing Amy, Jersey Girl, because there was a series of clunkers, and I think this is probably on the list in terms of like overall box office performance. But yes, it's crazy how low stakes the crime that they're trying to commit is, like just robbing the crappiest casino. Like this is like the type, like it's like Tioga Downs, like the type of casino that like,
me
you
and
know,
Chris were saying there's a shitty casino here in Madison called Ho Chunk,
yeah.
and we're like Ho Chunk is actually better than the one in the movie, and Ho Chunk is terrible.
And then like Dennis Farina just shows up playing this, wild manager or owner or whatever
Yeah,
of this casino. He's like,
yeah,
I don't fully get his story. He keeps saying he can't go back to Vegas.
yeah,
And they end up having this wild raid on this casino when they're finally trying to execute their plan, which
Mhm.
has taken forever to get to. It's so crazy how long it takes them to just try to go do this and how everything has gone wrong leading up to it.
Dude. Yeah, like the tone is all over the place with this movie too. Like some parts are like kind of dark and scary, and like actually like I don't know. And then there's just other parts that are like super ridiculous. Like when during the planning phase, like Ben Affleck is dressed up as this cowboy with this fake mustache, and he's supposed to be going around, and he's like the whole
Oh,
conflict or whatever is like he's pretending to be Nick, and then like, but he's telling Charlize he's not Nick, but then they don't believe him, and like. So he has to like put on this ruse because he thinks they're gonna kill him if he doesn't give them this information. So he's just making shit up as he goes. Like there's a scene where they're looking at this map that's like drawn on a piece of paper with like crayon
yeah.
basically. And he's just got to like make a bunch of shit up and come up with this plan to like rob this casino that he's never been in before, and it's just like some of it's super ridiculous, but then people are getting blown away and like I don't know.
And he keeps being like, "Oh no, no, they remodeled it. Like, not everything's where it was when I used to be there." Like, somehow the Ben Affleck character Rudy slash Nick keeps getting himself further and further involved in this, even though he's like starts by trying to get out of it.
There's
Um,
also multiple times when you're like, why didn't he just, when he was at the bar with like the manager, why didn't he just say something then and be like, you should probably call security because these guys are gonna like try to rob you or something, you know?
yeah, the decision making of like, almost everyone in this movie is questionable at best. It's mostly
Yeah.
terrible
I mean,
because
there's a part where they're in a they have him like chained to a bed in like a cheap motel or something. He escapes and then he goes into the car for the robber's like car for some reason. I think he's like looking for a gun or something. I don't remember exactly why. But he's out in the open. He could have just ran away or like went and used the phone or something.
yeah, I think there's multiple options, or like there's multiple times where escape is very much on the table, and yet he does not,
Yeah.
accurate, or he's not able to accomplish that.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a
it's
lot to say that this movie is just kind of ridiculous, but I still had fun with it.
definitely.
I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about reindeer games, but
No, I mean the thing that like I'm with you. I was having fun. It definitely like I think it starts out with some promise, but I feel like as you get to know the group of criminals, you're just like, man, these guys stink.
yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing is like I don't know when you find this out, probably like halfway through, but you find out, like I said, they're just truck drivers. They're not really like real criminals, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
this is the first robbery they've attempted.
somehow somehow they have like a John Wick style armory in their car too. Like,
Well, it is mentioned that that's the criminal world that they are familiar with. They were like
oh,
arms
that's true.
dealers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said that they run guns or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think about the whole like climatic end sequence on the cliff there where like all it's like the real Nick is back in the mix.
Yeah, that I was like real surprised to see real Nick back, and then
But
the
it's
way it
like
all,
it's definitely like one twist too many. You're
yeah.
like, okay, like this is enough.
Oh yeah,
And
and then he starts explaining how he like put like a blood capsule in his mouth or something. It's like, how would Rudy not know that he's not actually dead? Like, I don't.
I know it's insane. But he walks away with the money that they stole from the casino, just Rudy at the very end, the Ben Affleck character. And he just decides to start putting it in mailboxes
Random.
back in the crappy little town in
Yeah.
Michigan that he's from or whatever.
He gives this speech a couple times too, where he's like, "Man, I just want to get a cup of hot chocolate and go watch a couple ball games with my dad." Like,
I don't know. It's definitely an absurd movie. I guess I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I think tonally I was expecting something a little different. I think I was
yeah, I was
expecting it to
expecting
be
something a little bit like more like a serious action movie, like Die
more like
Hard-ish or
yeah,
something.
same. I was just gonna say I thought it was gonna be like a Die Hard alternate, but it's like
It's
it,
way goofier.
yeah, it's more like a not well executed Fargo or something. Like where
Yeah, that
there's
makes
a lot
sense. Yeah,
there's a lot more goofiness to it, but it doesn't have the it doesn't have the touch of the Coen brothers. I mean, this was
yeah,
Frankenheimer's last film. He passed away like a year or two after this.
yeah. Sadly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, too bad we didn't get Reindeer Games too.
yeah. All right. Well, we definitely got to do Black Sunday at some point, or you just got to watch it and we got to talk about it.
All right.
But
Listen, a lot of homework and blind buys coming up in 2026. I was taking a gander around my basement while I was trying to find that damn Garfield's Christmas DVD, and I'm like, I have like so much material I need to do for the show.
okay, that's never gonna end.
Yeah.
But should we move on to Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this was actually a pick, one of your three picks, right? So
It was. Yeah. I
had
know.
you seen this before? I don't
I
remember.
yeah. I have seen it. I own a Scream Factory 4K
Okay.
of
Nice.
it. Yeah. Please. Why
I
don't
also
you
just have
whip?
the standard Blu-ray, but
Oh, okay. I see.
it is
So
Scream Factory, but it's not like,
yeah, I
no
for once
slip.
can show off my sweet slipcover while you look on with jealous eyes. Um, yeah, I really enjoy Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's I guess in the vein of we talked about Jack Frost recently. I feel like it's kind of like that where it feels like one of these movies that could inspire, you know, Thanksgiving or like one
Yeah.
of these things, a
Well, this
holiday.
was a major inspiration. Eli Roth has said it was a major inspiration for Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. But it's also kind of unique. I find like the structure of it to be kind of neat. It's basically four segments, I would say.
Yeah.
It's the opening where Billy is a young kid who meets his horrifying grandfather. I mean,
He's
I
supposed to be catatonic, and then he just snaps out of it just to scare the shit out of Billy.
and I'll tell you this. I think it's effective. I think the scene with the
Yeah.
grandpa is really good.
Dude, they do a really that you saying this is unique is like that's kind of an understatement because like a lot you would assume probably if you watch the trailer for this is that this is just another like grindhouse trash movie kind of, and it part of it kind of
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It's kind of sleazy. There's like Linnea Quigley running around with her shirt off and
Yep.
getting murdered and stuff. But there's also they spend a lot of time building Billy up, like
I know.
explaining why he has this like trauma and stuff.
A lot of backstory, but I love the stuff with his grandpa in the beginning. I just think that's such a strong scene, and it's like I think it's so unexpected how good it is.
No, yeah, totally agree.
But then his parents get killed. Like it's it's rough by a guy dressed up as Santa Claus,
Hmm.
and that's like the opening segment. All of that stuff.
Hmm.
Then we get like early days at the I don't know what is this place? Is it a school for orphans or something? It's
Yeah,
like
I guess I just assumed it was
yeah,
like a nunnery or something, like a
yeah.
orphanage run by nuns. Yeah,
Run by Mother Superior, who seems like one of these ladies from like Dune or something, the Benny
yeah,
Gesserit or whatever. That like Mother Superior is her name.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think that's like a rank or something. Because I
okay.
was watching another like nunsploitation movie, and I think they just call mothers like the leader
That
of
I
these
mean
nun
that makes
places Mother
sense.
Superior.
That
I
makes
could be
more sense.
wrong about that, but
No, that's I'm sure that has to be right, but it would be hilarious if her name was Superior. Um, so that's like this second part is like a young Billy in his early days. Like we meet Mother Superior, we meet Sister Margaret or whatever, who kind of like is looking out for him. She's the sweet innocent one that's trying to help him find his way in the world. And we get the early signs that some things might be not great, but he makes it through this and does I don't know, graduate high school, or I don't know how old he's supposed to be when he starts working at the store, but the store is like the next segment of the movie, and it's probably like my favorite segment. I love when he's like working at the store and he's like completely normal. I mean,
yeah.
or pretty normal, and he's kind of flirting with the girl there. All the kids' moms really like him, and
His
things go.
introduction, like after the time jump, his introduction is like pretty funny because it's like the camera like pans up. Basically, like one of the nice nuns gets him this job at this department store where a lot of
Yeah.
the movie actually takes place, or a chunk of it.
Yeah, it's a long segment in the store.
Yeah. But like the way he's introduced is like the guy's like, "Oh, I don't want to hire some kid or something." And then she's like, "Okay, well, I'll just, do you want to see him or something?" Or I don't remember exactly what it said, but they show him and it's like a pan up like from his feet, and he's just like the most handsomest like kid, and he's like
Yeah.
big and strong, and you're like, and then the guy's just like, "Okay, you can start tomorrow or something." Like,
One of the things that I wrote down, which was back in the segment that precedes this, where because Billy's like little brother is also around at the school, and Billy's little brother is just sitting with this other kid, and the other kid just goes, "Your brother is a nutcase. That's what's wrong." I was like, dynamite line. But they're having at during the toy store segment of the movie. I don't know. Do they say is it Black Friday? They're having a holiday sale. Maybe it's
yeah, are
Christmas
you talking
Eve.
about like why he needs to be dressed up as Santa Claus?
I wasn't talking about that part specifically, but yeah, I mean, obviously that's kind of what sets him over the edge.
Yeah.
I just meant like there's that whole thing where they're having it's it's a sale and the store's gonna close at, and then the store owner is like, all right, it's 7 o'clock, it's over, time to get shit faced.
Yeah. The guy that runs the store is hilarious.
Yeah, but that's sort of where he turns and breaks, and all of his bad past with Santa, in what happened with his parents. It all comes to a collision point where he's now going to be a serial killer and try to ruin everyone's Christmases. But like, I enjoy one of the things that sets him over the edge is that girl that he's been flirting with. Like, she just goes with the douchey guy at the store in the
Yeah.
back, and he does not take that well.
Yeah, like the assistant manager or something. Well, I feel like it's like kind of calling back to like part of his like trauma was like he saw the Santa that killed his parents like ripped his mother's like blouse off before he
Yes.
killed her, and it's just like, and then another thing that happened in the Nun was like he witnessed, like he's supposed to be locked in his room, and he comes out, like the nice nun comes and lets him out, and she's like, you should go play with your brother and the other kids outside, and on his way out he hears like another nun like fucking some dude.
Yeah.
and, and
Pandemonium at this school.
and Mother Superior comes and like beats him and like beats the lady or something, and is like, so he has like a lot of trauma like around sexuality or something, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So
Mother
kind of makes sense
Superior
that that's one of the triggers.
Mother Superior does kind of seem like straight out, like a wardeness or whatever, like straight out of one of those women in prison movies.
Hmm. She ends up, you've seen the sequel, right?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
So you gotta watch the sequel. The thing that sucks about at least part two is like the first 40 minutes is just recapping what happened in the first movie. But then it follows Billy's brother. I can't remember his name,
I assumed, yeah.
but it follows his brother who also cracks and goes crazy. And Mother Superior ends up being like the big villain. And
Mm.
she's like scarred, and like there's like a big showdown at the end of the movie with Billy's brother and her. Like,
So the whole second half of this movie, after after he turns evil, is this fun romp through like town where he's just killing random people, including, the most famous death scene certainly from the movie is the sledding scene, which I feel like you
mhm.
discussed in one of your videos.
Yeah, so I made a video last year because I had never seen these movies until last year, and I just marathoned them all, and I made a video basically just talking about each one of them. But yeah, that one
Well,
and the I think it's Linnea Quigley is the actress who's
yeah.
she's having a sex scene with her boyfriend or something. She's like babysitter fooling around with her boyfriend or something, and she's walking around topless, and she gets picked up and like impaled onto
Yes.
like a taxidermy deer head, like his
Right.
antlers, and
Yeah.
that scene is like pretty memorable.
Yes. So a couple of noteworthy kills, but then when we go back to the school and there's a Santa that's approaching the school and he just gets blasted to death by a local policeman. And it's not Billy.
Yeah, yeah. They say he's like he's an older guy who like can't hear, so when the
Yeah.
police yell to him, he couldn't hear him or something. But
It's
there's
like,
another funny scene too where the cops almost shoot another guy dressed up as Santa
that's right.
who's like climbing in a window.
Yeah.
This is like insane. I don't know.
That Santa that they kill though, it's like just like the original Halloween 2 where that the kid that's not Michael Myers but dressed up as him gets like slammed into and like blown up and
Yeah.
incinerated. Like,
Yeah.
I always thought that scene was hilarious, and I feel like
uh,
this this Santa being killed, it reminds me of that.
yeah, for sure.
So it all ends, yeah, like you said, with, I guess, an unsurprising cliffhanger that, I mean, Billy's brother's been around the whole time, so it's like you have to know where this is heading.
Hmm.
But Billy is killed, and then the cliffhanger is going to be like, uh-oh. But the brother, I think he picks up the axe or something, right?
Yeah. The trauma has like been passed on to his brother or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Which also seems like something out of the Halloween movies. Like,
Yeah.
like
There's like
Halloween
no
5.
supernatural stuff until that maybe possibly is like somewhat supernatural. I don't know.
Yeah. It's, I mean, such an easy watch because I think it's only like an 84-minute runtime or something.
Yeah.
But I love Silent Night, Deadly Night. I just think I think it's one of the peaks of this type of movie.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, tons of just like punny kills, like Christmassy stuff, like people getting strangled with like Christmas lights and kids
Yes,
sledding getting their heads lopped off and a lot of fun stuff like that.
totally.
Um, did you know that this movie? I haven't seen it, but it actually was recently remade and it's in theaters right now. I think the remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has like a small release, but it's out right now.
Wait, under this title?
Yeah, it's called Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's directed by the same guy who did the Wrong Turn remake, which I hated. Um,
Okay, I did not
but
see that.
apparently, or I guess the Wrong Turn thing wasn't really a remake. It was like a total reboot, and it's like there was no there was no inbred hillbillies in it at all. So I was like, why is this called Wrong Turn?
Wow, this is crazy. I know I had no idea that there was a Silent Night, Deadly Night for this year. This is how like just out
Yeah,
of touch I am whenever doing anything for the show. It's like, yeah, you should probably like be aware that there's one of that that the movie that you picked had a remake for this year, and it's like, well, guess what? I'm not.
well, I don't know if it's gonna do too well. I've only heard negative things about it, so apparently it's not very good. But
Yeah, I
I'll
wouldn't
probably
necessarily.
watch it still anyways. I don't care. I want to see what it's
Look,
about.
I'm definitely interested.
Um,
Color me interested, Keith.
apparently it's getting a little bit of buzz though for like I think some clip leaked online or maybe it was in one of the trailers that I just haven't seen. But there's like a Nazi group being like slaughtered by the killer Santa, so
No fun.
that got people hyped to see it. I guess I don't know,
Oy vey.
but
Okay, well, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I knew at some point on the show we'd be talking about it, and yeah, I mean that's definitely one that needs to be on your holiday season watch list.
yeah. I think it's pretty big in like the horror community. People who love horror movies already know about it, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's a fun one, even if you've already seen it, to just talk about. And it's going to be a yearly watch for
yeah,
me, even
yeah,
though I just watched it for the first time last year, but
yeah.
it's great.
I'm sure people in the horror community are like, I can't believe you would pick this. That's like as bad as picking Die Hard. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
well,
probably. Yeah, some people probably would say that,
yeah,
and they'd probably
but
say it about the next movie that we're going to talk about, which I think it's time to move on, right?
yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So another one that I hadn't seen until last year for the first time. But this movie is great. This is like a
Yeah,
5-star movie for me. Black Christmas.
I liked it quite a bit too. This is what I wrote in my letterbox review, Keith. Black Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Hell
Boo.
yeah.
Thanks.
So
Um,
to the uninitiated, this movie actually came out shortly before Halloween, right?
so as it starts off, I'm like, oh, this is totally just capitalizing off the success of Halloween. Okay, it's Black Christmas. They're doing the POV killer shots like right from the beginning. It even looks kind of similar when it's like looking up at the house and everything. And then it's
Mhm.
also what they do in Thanksgiving, like just
Mhm.
the POV shots like looking at the house. And then I'm like, wait a second, this came out in 74. Halloween is 78. So I never
Mhm.
knew, but this was like a big influence on Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
And
it
I'm
was
not
one
trying to
of
say that we obviously haven't watched this movie until recently.
yeah.
So we're not like, diehard OG fans of it, but
No.
when you watch it, like you see the influence that this movie had on a lot of other horror movies for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And there were some things that really kind of surprised me about it. Well, several things. I mean, not to even go all the way to the end, but just the fact that it sort of peters out at the end unresolved. You're like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um,
should we explain what
please.
it is to anybody who
Yeah,
hasn't seen it
yeah,
yet?
why don't you do Keith explains a movie?
All right.
One of my favorite segments.
So, yeah, so like Matt was started talking about, the very beginning, it starts out with the POV of the killer, and you see him climbing up into the attic of sorority's house, basically. Um, and that kind of becomes the killer's like home base. He's like hanging out in this attic, and I mean, I guess there's not like a ton of plot here. Like there's like a lot of like little mini side stories and stuff going on, but basically it's just this guy hiding out in this attic, um, killing off these girls from this sorority. There's a lot of phone call stuff happening. Like he's making these very creepy phone calls to these girls. Like throughout, even after he's killed like a couple victims, he's still calling and
Yeah.
kind of like terrorizing.
I was I was definitely taken aback a little bit when you hear that first phone call and how graphic it is. I was like, this
Yeah.
is really going for it. I was
Yeah,
like,
he's
this,
saying some nasty stuff, like real gross sexual stuff that he's like saying on the phone, and the
yeah,
voice he does is like so this must be like a big inspiration for Scream because
yeah,
it's I mean, it's like the stuff on the phone is actually scary. Like,
I agree. I mean, and I think I know the answer to this, but you can tell me. The all these references to Agnes and Billy, that's like never explained, right? Like those are
I
names that
don't
are,
think so. To me, that felt like kind of like similar to Psycho. Maybe like
yeah,
maybe the killer has like multiple personalities or like thinks he's multiple people or something. Like
yeah,
the scariest thing about like the killer on the phone to me is he just seems totally insane. Like
yeah.
it's just the stuff he's saying is like crazy. He's talking about like I want to lick your like dirty. I don't even want to say it
You
on
don't have to
here.
repeat it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but he's like talking all this gross sexual stuff and like just the way I don't know the voice actor whoever it was, but it's creepy, dude, and it's hard to like.
I totally agree. And I was like, this is pretty well executed. I was like, this is actually scary. The stuff on the phone, and it's intense. I was like, this
Yeah,
is it just goes further than you would have expected it to. I
yeah,
think.
yeah. No, and in more ways than one too. Not just the scary stuff, but it also has some like pretty intense themes too. Like I guess you would say Jess is her name's Jess, right? Is like the final girl kind of.
Yeah.
Um, so there's this whole subplot, and it kind of leads into like the kind of red herring. So big spoiler warning here. We're gonna spoil the movie. Um,
That hasn't has that not been clear yet
I
to
think it's
everyone?
clear, but I just feel like I need to say it. I don't know why.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so Jess's boyfriend finds out in the movie that she's pregnant. There's a whole scene where she tells him she's pregnant, but he wants to just like give up whatever and get married and just live a normal life or whatever. But there's a really good scene where she's like, I don't want to marry you. I don't want to have this kid. I want to have an abortion. Like, so it's playing with these like heavy themes, and that kind of like makes you think that the boyfriend is the killer. But ultimately, you find out at the very, very end of the movie that he is not the killer. He gets killed by Jess, right, in self defense or something.
Yeah. It's a little it's left a little murky what all happens in that basement.
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't really. It all happens like off camera, but I think you get a shot of
Yeah.
him like bleeding or something, and I think you're just assuming that he died. Um, if I'm getting
Yeah.
that totally wrong, I'm going to sound like an idiot right now.
No,
But
no, that's right. You just don't really see it, so it's a little unclear because it seems like she's still being pursued by the other guy.
yeah,
I think it's implied that the other guy was involved in the basement incident, but like he was chasing her. He chased her down into the basement.
yeah, yeah.
The real
And then
killer.
the boyfriend shows up, and he climbed. It. I feel like this movie really wants you to think that the boyfriend is the killer.
Definitely, he's like the red herring for sure.
Yeah, like throughout the whole movie until the very end, where you said like it kind of leaves it ambiguous and um
Yeah. So the other girl in the group that was Barb or whatever was played by Margot Kidder, who was like Lois Lane in the Superman movies that followed in like the late 70s, early 80s or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool. This is directed by, I think the guy's name is Bob Clark, who also directed A Christmas Story. So
Yeah,
there's another
and
Christmas guy.
Porky's.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about dudes that have range.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. We didn't say this earlier, but we talked about this in our very first episode. This was like my blind buy or something.
Yeah,
Um,
lot of
yeah,
tiebacks to the first episode today.
yeah.
I see. I mean, I feel like it was many things were meant to be, and yeah. So I finally watched. This was my first time watching the movie, and I also was very high on it. I thought it was super cool. I also one of the things that I thought was really cool from just a functional level was following along with how they were doing the tracing the phone calls.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of tension there for sure. Like, because there's a couple times when he calls and they just can't keep him on the phone long enough for
Yeah,
them to get the trace.
but I'm specifically talking about like how there's that dude who's in that room with all the
Hmm.
different phone lines, I guess, in town or whatever. I don't like any like there's actually a physical way of figuring out where it's coming from. Like I've always known
Yeah,
of the police procedural movies where, they're tapping the line and everything's like done through some digital way, but this was some guy in a
yeah,
room with a bunch of like phone lines who was going to like figure out which one it was coming from.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was the '70s. I mean, that's probably the first
I,
time the
yeah.
earliest like phone trace scene that I've seen in a movie.
Yeah, I think that's probably true for me as well. I had just never seen anything like this, and I thought that was kind of a cool thing to include.
Yeah, no. It's cool, but yeah, it like kind of builds tension as it's happening too, because you're watching him run back and it's like it's cutting back and forth between her on the phone and like the detective and all that. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I do feel like maybe not a great job by the police and everyone else who's trying to find the first girl who was killed, because that's what, sends everything in motion. Seeing as she is in the attic of the house, and then
Yeah.
there ends up being
They're
other dead
not
bodies.
thoroughly they didn't do a thorough search. And even by the end of the movie, you keep seeing the image from the this image that's on the cover
Yeah,
of the girl. It shows this is the first victim
right.
in the rocking chair with like the bag over her head.
Yep.
Or maybe it's not a bag. I think it's like a plastic sheet that you would cover like a coat in or something.
Yeah.
Um, but that first kill is like awesome, and they keep going back to this shot of her just in the rocking chair with the bag over her or the plastic over her face, and it's
Well,
like
yeah.
so creepy.
And at
And
some
just
point,
like
he's
a
like,
fun fact about this that I learned was they didn't do any like special effects for that. It was like apparently that actress was just a really good swimmer and could hold her breath for a really long time. So they actually had a bag like tied over her head, the plastic or whatever. So like I don't know, just cool fact. But,
yeah, I know it is creepy, and I said it at the beginning, and I guess I'll end with this too. I also just think it's kind of cool that they decide to end the movie without like a real resolution with the killer.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean we could go on longer about this movie too. I mean you started down the path of like I think saying about how like Barb is a really cool character.
Yeah.
Um, and like this might be a controversial take, but I like this movie more than Halloween, I think.
Oh
And
wow.
and
Okay.
part of it is because I like Jess. I think Jess and like all that stuff with like the being pregnant or whatever, and like that whole subplot, I think just adds an extra level. And Barb and like a lot of the sorority girls are just interesting characters in themselves too. Like I
Well, I
think they're
definitely.
more interesting than Laurie Strode and her friends in Halloween.
Yeah. Well, Lori's kind of a wet blanket, but I think her friends are fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I just feel like there's like a little more depth to the
no, I think
characters.
that's a fair point. I mean, it's hard for me to like say that I like a lot of movies better than Halloween because I kind of think Halloween is if it, pound for pound. I think it's maybe my favorite horror movie. I mean, I just think it's such a great movie.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I'm not saying that Halloween isn't a great movie. I don't know if it's a hot take to say that or not. Like I feel like this movie is still kind of underseen. Just the fact that neither of us had seen it until
yeah,
recently is like kind of a decent tell that this is probably underseen. Like obviously not in the horror community. Horror people have probably known about this forever, but um
no, absolutely. And I remember, I mean, it was like 2006 or whatever when there was a remake in the theater, and I've still never seen that one. And then I know it was remade again in like 2019 by a girl named Sophia Takal, who is part of that like uh Joe Swanberg like greater mumblecore community. She like directs
mhm,
those types of movies. So there you go.
yeah.
Making everything just showing how everything is connected. Um everything is connected through Black Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yes, I was loving these sorority babes and how much they just drink straight whiskey. That I was like, wow.
And the what's the lady's name who's kind of like the mother of the house or whatever? She's like the adult.
Yeah, I
She
don't know
has
her
like
name.
a bottle of liquor like hidden in a book somewhere. I
Yeah,
think back in the day, sororities weren't allowed to like drink and have alcohol in the house and like have parties and stuff. I think that's why they have to do that stuff. But
sure.
even that is like so. This movie is like mostly played like dead serious,
Yep,
but Barb and that lady kind of have a couple jokes here and there.
definitely. Well, the Barb does the whole thing with the police officer where she's giving the number but saying it's fellatio and he doesn't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. He's like
I
the
don't,
desk cop or whatever, and
yeah,
then
I don't know if
the
that was like,
detectives kind of give him shit for it later on.
yeah, I guess it was too big of a word for him to
Yeah.
know what that meant. Uh, yeah. So no, I'm super glad I watched this. I mean, I gave it 4.5 stars like first watch, but yeah, I mean, it was great.
Yeah. I added it to my top 4 after rewatching it this time. I was
Love
like,
it. Yeah.
great
It's a
Christmas movie.
good seasonal pick. Good one to finish with. So there you go, folks. I think. Did you have anything else to add on Black Christmas?
No, no, I just yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good on it. We
I
probably
kind of.
could make that I think we could make that movie like a spotlight
Oh,
sometime,
I'd
but
say so.
we gave it
Yeah.
its due. It's um
I'd say so. But yeah, I mean, look, this was an opportunity for us to just have a little bit looser of an episode and just, wax poetic about 6 movies that we think, between the two of us, maybe not collectively on all of them,
yeah.
movies that we think make for good alternative Christmas movies to watch during the holiday season and, just have a little bit of fun with it to round out the year and put a cherry on top of what was the first full year of Return to Videotech. I would say we plan to keep going, and we'll return to our segments in the new year. Who knows? Maybe we'll introduce some new ones next year. But I think for everyone that hung with us this first year, and for people that have just been joining recently, thank you and stick with us because we plan to dive deeper. Do you have any any thoughts or feelings looking back on this first year? Any favorite moments or favorite episodes?
I think I've had a lot of fun on this episode, to be honest. Like, I kind
There
of
you go.
like the more like chill, not kind of like going through the plot completely. Not that I don't like doing that in the
Yeah, yeah,
other episodes, but this was fun just to try something different a little bit. And I
absolutely. I would
also
say, go
like
ahead.
out of our regular episodes, I think my favorite was probably Grindhouse, just because I like love those movies so much.
Yeah, I feel like I keep feeling like our best episode was Jaws, but I feel like I think that just because I think we both brought such an energy to it because there's just such
Yeah,
a love. I don't know if the things we were saying were great, but I definitely could feel how much energy was coming from both of us for it. I think maybe my favorite episode is actually Body Double. I thought we did like a pretty good job with Body Double.
surprisingly, that's like one of our, if not our most like viewed and downloaded, listened to episodes. So that's, I mean,
Well, there you go.
yeah,
But yeah, I think anything's on the table for next year. We may settle into doing the episodes a little bit differently, but I'm very happy with the product, and
yeah,
if you're not, go get your movie discussion somewhere else. We don't
Yeah,
care.
kick rocks. No, yeah, we haven't. Matt and I haven't had this peek behind the curtain. We haven't really had any real discussions about going forward what we're gonna do. But I think this was a really fun way to like end the first year. And yeah, we don't have any plans to stop. But I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna take a break and rethink some stuff, or I don't know what's on Matt's mind. But
There's
well,
always opportunities.
yeah, follow me on Instagram though, because if we decide to change anything or decide to like take maybe a longer break or something or whatever's happening, follow me on Instagram, High Volume Video, and subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, I'll leave a post somewhere when we figure out what we're gonna do for the next episode.
Yeah.
But we're not going anywhere. We'll
No.
figure it out and let you know soon.
Yeah, I don't want to leave any ambiguity. I mean, this is our last episode for the year. I plan to be back in January.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening throughout the year and for this episode. Leave us rating and review if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. Those help. And, subscribe on YouTube, all that jazz. Leave us a comment. If you have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see us change or do different, or any movies you want to request, I can't guarantee that we'll do them, but
We'll take the feedback. We may
Yeah.
not on it.
Yeah, just let us know if there's anything you want us to do or cover on the show. So
People are just like, be better or stop doing the show.
well, we won't take that advice.
No.
We're going to keep doing this. But, yep, that's going to do it. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Return to VideoTech.